Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching this, hello chat. If you hear me and if I'm sounding right, please let me know. I want to thank you all for joining the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where this week we are super excited because we actually have some interesting things to talk about, and we have a great guest to talk about it
And
with.
I am almost choking to death because
And
I
of
was
course,
stuffing my face before we
Before
started.
we get there, let me introduce my brother from another mother, my follically challenged evil twin, the
Jesus
man.
Christ. You know what?
The
I just
man-
started taking biotin, and I
The
got this
man
new
who-
$40 beard oil.
Let me
Not
finish the
gonna
introduction,
shame
brother man.
my small beard for 2 months longer.
The man who made it official with his significant other in the most rom-com way possible, Mr. Everborn Saga. Good morning,
Yes.
sir. Go ahead and
They
tell me
call-
about your
they-
follicle challenges now. What's up,
They
man?
call me Mr. Cliche now. I had to. Well, that's a separate thing from the beard, but the whole engagement thing, I had to do it
Yeah.
on Valentine's Day in Paris.
With the Eiffel Tower in view.
With the Eiffel Tower in the background.
Yes.
That whole
beautiful.
Fantastic.
thing was all about the picture that we would have afterwards. So we can just kind of look at that forever. So theoretically, I did it for the gram. When you think about it. Like,
This guy, man.
no. And to the beard, yes, I've been, you don't know
Oh,
this one.
cut it out, brother.
I've been
I'm
trying
just
to
giving you
grow
a
this
hard
thing
time. Oh,
for
here
like
it goes.
3 years, and
I gotta stop using that as part of the intro because then it gives him a reason to keep talking about his beard.
this is as far as I've gotten. But it's cool though. I'm getting the blow dryer and the beard oil. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get the Rick Ross thing going before I go bald.
Stop it.
That's
stop
the plan.
it. And of course, our wonderful guest that we have this week. I'm so happy to have her from Grown Woman Gaming, who I think recently celebrated their 200th episode. Lord,
Yes.
200th
Yes.
episode. Delilah HD.
200%.
Welcome.
Yes, 200
Welcome so
episodes.
much. Thank you for being
you.
here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. I appreciate you inviting me to be on the show. Yeah. So
Thank you so much for being here.
excited to talk about these games and this industry news.
I've been checking out some of the episodes. I'm like 200 episodes. If we, as a guy who's on episode 38, if we ever even get halfway there, that is a monumental achievement. That's awesome, man. Congratulations to you and the whole team. That's so great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Couldn't do it
Yes.
without him. No.
Couldn't do it without them. No.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
Takes, as
you
you
Takes,
guys have a lot
as
you
you
have
all
a
know,
big
it
team
takes like
on the show, right? I see a lot of different kinds of content on your channel.
Well, see,
our show is every Saturday right after this one at noon Eastern.
And so it's the four.
And so it's the four of us, and what we do is we cycle out who's the host. I typically produce the show, so as far as like creating the art, the video, things like that, that's all me. But we cycle through like who talks about topics. And so what's interesting about today is I'm actually hosting today.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm
So
doing
you're
this
gonna
show,
be, you're
so I'm
gonna
have
be
to-
on there double, double duty. I apologize.
Yeah.
No, it's
Double
okay.
duty.
It's okay.
No, it's okay. It's
No,
okay.
it's
No,
not bad. Like I
it's
said,
not bad. Like I said, we do a good job of like sharing the load, if you will.
And they're in the chat, by the way.
And they're in the chat, by the way.
Hey.
You know, we try to
shout
support
out to
each
the
other.
chat.
They're in the chat.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for pulling up, for checking this out. So I will, at the top, before we start the show as we do, I will say we apologize for missing last week. I wasn't feeling too well. The children brought home some gremlins. I had to deal with those. People with kids know what I'm
And
talking
I
about.
enjoyed the vacation.
And the man enjoyed the vacation, of course. So we are back at you now. And we're seeing that Delilah, they say that there's a bit of an echo. I will work on that while we go through this. But
Okay.
yes, just a
Okay.
little bit of an echo. We'll get that sorted out. But yes.
Hey, by the way, sidebar,
Yes, sir.
I just checked my Steam Deck reservation. I got the 512. It says that your expected order availability is after Q2 2022.
So about
Reserved
about
Friday,
September.
July 16th.
So about September. Yeah, mine
2023.
is
I'm
Q2,
calling
which
it
is
now.
April, in between April and March, and I'm just like, oh, that's. But we'll get there because Steam Deck is definitely on the topic of conversation today.
You
but
mean the Game Pass deck, but we'll talk about that when the time comes.
stop it. Let us start this conversation as we always do with the conversation that we all are here for most weeks, which is the games that we've been playing. So I will get started. Well, actually, you know what? I will ask my guest to get started and tell us some games.
Ladies first. Have some class, sir.
We're starting this early, are we, Mr. Slanders?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Delilah, as you are our guest, please let us know some of the games you've been playing, some things that have been keeping you busy this week.
So this week,
it has been a light week for me. I'm actually playing Lost Ark on PC.
I just hit
level 30 and just got my stronghold.
Really
enjoying that game. I kind of poured all more effort into it because I'm boycotting Destiny 2 right now.
Okay.
So instead of
playing the Destiny 2 update, I'm playing Lost Ark.
Interesting. Why are you boycotting
So
Destiny 2? People are loving the Witch Queen expansion.
Because I'm just over it. I'm over that formula, the grind.
You finally saw through the grind.
You play.
Yeah, you play the
Yeah, you play the campaign, and then there's gonna be another drip feed of like grind it out to get gear that's gonna be obsolete in like 2 months. Like I can't do it.
See, you have come to the realization that I came to after about 500 hours of Destiny 1. Which is, and I realized it when they reset all of the weapons, right? And I put in my time. I got my Galahorn and all of that, right? But the thing is, I realize I am not built for games that don't have an end, right? I need a beginning, a middle, an end, and most importantly, I need to pause, right? And I feel like any game that is its only purpose is to keep me playing and not really taking me on up to a destination. I get that it's about the journey, but I feel like I am actually wasting time at that point and not actually progressing towards something. Because when I game, it doesn't have to be about a story because gameplay comes first. But I do need to feel like I'm progressing towards some sort of end game, so I can, because you feel a sense of achievement when you complete a game, when those credits roll, and
the dopamine.
Yeah, right.
So
and that's that.
What you're saying basically is you've joined the olds club like me. Got to have a beginning, middle,
absolutely.
and an end. I hear you. Yes,
That's
why
that
Minecraft for all of its
structure.
accolades, I can't play it because I need an end. Right. That's why Destiny 2 never gripped me, because I'll play the campaign, but at some point that game has to end for me to move on to something else. The perpetual continuation always gets me. I hear you. So that's the reason why you've been stepping away from Destiny 2?
That's the reason why I love Halo. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, either of you.
You asking me? Like who you're asking? So I mean, that's the part. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. Like that's part of my same reasons too. Is and then also there's just a bunch of other games. My backlog is crazy, so I'm just trying to kind of get through some of that. And yeah, and then I'm really digging.
Can
Lost
somebody
Ark,
explain to me what Lost Ark is?
I mean,
Please, Delilah. Yes, go ahead.
It's an MMO. I mean, it's an MMO, but it has a nice campaign underneath as well. It's just it reminds me of what is it? Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it.
Yeah,
Diablo.
It
it's like a Diablo.
Yeah,
it's top down. Right. Yeah, it has that top down kind of thing. And so you play, you get your loot, you update your character, you play through the story, you get your quests. It's a legit MMO, and you start out, create your character, you do a good job with all of some of the things you can pick. We talked about before the show started, like as far as ethnicity, they got like not a great hair options. They look good, like you got the braids, cornrows, got the afro puffs. Like they really did their job as far as create a character. But I'm digging it, I'm loving it, and shout out to Charisse for pushing us to play that game.
How's the gameplay, the moment to moment? Because I've seen people playing it a little bit.
It's good. I mean,
what I see is very much almost WoW-like, where it's very keyboard mouse centric. Repetition, hotkeys.
Yeah, I mean, it plays well. I play with controller. It has a great scheme for a controller. You still have to do some things with like moving the mouse to select options on you for updating and modifying like your character. But it does really well on controller. Even at times feel like I'm playing an action game because the combat is like pseudo real time. You have, of course, you have to wait sometimes for the perks to kind of kick in when an animation to finish before you can kick off another animation. But all in all, it's fun. It's addicting. Very addicting.
What's the payment scheme like? Is it like free to play totally? Is it?
It's free to play. It's free to play. And they have little perks you can purchase. Right now, I've put easily, I don't know, close to 40 hours into the game. and I haven't spent I haven't spent the
Okay,
cent.
okay.
You know, because
So Amazon has
they've
a
been
hit on
having a
their
lot
hands
of like
definitely on this one. Okay.
yeah,
Very cool.
it's pretty. It's quality for it to be a free to play game. I mean, graphically, it's beautiful. Like I said, it's great animations. I mean, they did a good
Awesome.
job. They did a good job.
I am impressed by all of these accolades being thrown at this game because, you know, we heard New World. New World was another one that came and hit real big and then just kind of fell off a
It
cliff
was real rough though.
early. You know, I heard it was breaking people's video cards. I'm like, nope, I'm staying away from that one. You know, but okay, I definitely have to install it at this point. Then, you know, since some of us on this show must represent the PC side of the house.
Oh God, here we go.
I have a 3080 and don't know how to use it, but we'll move quickly along.
Knows how to, don't want to use it. There's a difference.
Mr. Everborn Saga.
That's interesting. So wait, you have a like, cause I have a 3080 Ti.
Ooh.
So you have a 3080 and
He never uses
you
it.
don't play PC. I heard you say like you don't really play PC. You use it for like what, editing or something?
No, not editing. It's like for kind of the game development stuff. And I knew I didn't need anything that beefy because it's only like Unity sort of, and what we make is like kind of 2D style, you know, 2D platformer. We're in the beginning stages of working on a beat 'em up right now, which we can talk about later. I just had a 2-hour meeting about that last night, by the way. But anyway, yeah, it's a 3080 i9 10900KF.
Oh, here he goes. He always emphasizes the F because he and I have the same PC. Only mine's the K. His is the KF. So, ooh.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
So my processor is better, but
sure. Go ahead.
and 64 gigs of memory at I think 3200 megahertz. And 2 terabyte SSD, and the only game that I've played on it was Cyberpunk 2077 because when it first came out, it was not very good on console, but I would have preferred to play it on console. And I played the patch yesterday on the Series X. Looking pretty good.
No, we can transition to that. You know what have you been playing? So go ahead. You played some more Cyberpunk?
No, I just did the opening just to kind of see what it was like, what this effects are like. So it's looking good. I don't want to get back into that until there's like a new story drop. So I'm not gonna. And even then, the problem there is that my entire 120 hours are on PC. So like, if they do a story drop, am I gonna have to play the whole campaign again to get to it?
Hey, I mean, CDPR has been good enough in the past to get cross save working. They did that on some other games. Let's hope.
I really hope they do, because I would love to kind of take it up and continue the fight for Night City. And I want to know what happens to V. Like, you know, you end. You know, we won't. I won't spoil it, but you know. Indeed. But anyway, so there's that.
Go ahead. Yep.
And I've been playing the game that didn't deserve a 97, Elden Ring.
You know what? We'll get to that as well. We'll get to that. That is definitely a story topic. So I know you put some time in Elden Ring. How about you give me your high level right now?
Graphics,
bro.
I said it,
bro. Calm down with the slander. Let's work up to the slander.
Oh no. No, I came with the smoke. I called you about this last night and told you.
There's a reason those user reviews disabled on Metacritic.
All I'll say, and we'll get there, but all I'll say is,
we can look at
when I saw
Steam
Perfect
reviews.
10s, I was like, there's some hive mind stuff going on right now. We need to kind of look at it with the sus eyeball, but we'll continue.
and the greater question is, will Starfield get as much leniency?
Oh boy! All right. Well, you
another
know what?
similarly overhyped game.
Clearly, you want to have this this Elden Ring conversation. Before we get there, let me quickly tell you what I've been playing. Yes.
I love it.
Quickly, we'll get there
He's
because I know you want to get there.
Say the views of Everborn do not constitute the views of the Gaming Circle podcast.
Well, actually, on this topic, you might be surprised that our views are pretty much aligned, but we'll get there. I will say the game that I've been playing.
Elden Ring is no Sonic, Mr.
Stop
Joe
with the
Anatar.
slander already. You guys, you come here with this. We'll get to the smoke. It's fine. I have been playing Forbidden West, as you can see on your screen here. I have like copious hours of footage. As of right now, I think I'm about 50 hours into this game, and most people who played it for about 50 hours have probably beaten it already. I'm like 50% into the actual campaign. I love this story, and I'll break up my views on it in multiple aspects because I think I want to have a broader conversation a little towards the news section there. But just as a quick aside, a quick review, no spoilers, obviously. If you played the first one and you liked the first one, or even if you had a spark that, hey, this has potential, they have like gotten to that potential. They've really mined it for all the good stuff that initially was there, and they're literally doubling down on that. There are some issues, and we'll get there. And folks that have checked my Twitter profile know exactly what I'm talking about because I've been posting them as they come up. I am like many tweets into some bugs. We'll get there as well. But on the top level of it, I think the moment to moment is great. If you even had a small inkling of liking this game, you should definitely try the second one. First off, I would recommend you actually finish the first one, even though some people don't necessarily like it as much. From a story perspective, it does inform you when you play the first one to then go into this one, because then you understand a lot of certain things that you may not understand if you just go into the second one, like why she behaves the way she does, why her friends treat her the way they treat her. There's a lot of, while there's the action combat going on, there's a lot of sub narratives also happening there. I'm sorry, Delilah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, now I was just gonna ask. So you said, doesn't it do like an overview though when you start the game? So like a recap.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
You can play part 2 without ever touching part 1, but I think it honestly benefits from at least getting an understanding of, she started in this place, she was ostracized. This is why she was. This is the whole first game is spent with people looking at you a certain way, talking to you a certain way, and now the second part will be spent the whole time the complete opposite of how they were treating you the first time, and her reactions to that, and her reactions to her friends. It's very interesting. They put in some effort when it comes to that stuff. So I honestly think that that if you're a person who likes the narrative stuff, and I am, I'm all in when you give me a good narrative.
Beginning,
this is pretty
middle,
good.
And end.
Exactly.
I don't know why I have to keep telling these people this.
Very good. Yes, it has a great beginning, a decent middle, and we shall see how the end goes. But I think it will hit it out the park. I have obviously 50 hours in. I love this game, even though I did download the Elden Ring. I've just kind of left it sitting there. I will come back to said Elden Ring. I've only put a few minutes into Elden Ring, but I want to finish this game before I get there. But you know what? Since we so much want to have this Elden Ring conversation, is there any other games that we have been playing that we have not discussed before we move on?
I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. So if we do get to the Horizon Forbidden West disclosure, discussion, full disclosure, I haven't played it yet, so I won't have much to say. I can only give my lens
of course.
What I've been playing in Zero Dawn, which I got to be honest, and I don't know if it's because of the hype or the FOMO or whatever, but Zero Dawn really feels like a chore to play, and I feel like I'm doing homework. And I'm not playing it to have fun. I'm playing it to get through it so that I can see what all the hubbub is about for Horizon Forbidden West.
If that's honestly how you feel, sir, you can just go to Forbidden West right now. Like, it's not that big. It's not that serious. It is not a class that you need to take for the test that is Forbidden West.
That's not what I was told last week, sir.
No, I'm just saying, just like I said a few minutes ago.
You have to finish Forbidden Zero Dawn.
Like I said a few minutes ago, it informs your playthrough of Part 2 if you have a better understanding of Part 1. It's not like required reading or anything, You disagree? Well, but see, the way you're talking about it, you might not like part 2 either, because clearly, no doubt there were definitely some pain points in part 1.
Did they fix the melee combat in this one?
Actually, they have. Yes, actually, if you want to speak on that a little bit, they've actually given you classes now, like full classes. So what happens there is, I tend to be a ranged player, so I love my sniper rifles and my bows and arrows. So if you want to stick there, you can build your skill tree within that frame and get better and get more moves there. But if you want to stick to melee combat, they also have a tree for that as well. They have sneaking, they have a bunch of different things. So you can like mix and match and build different skill sets to kind of make you well-rounded, or you can focus on, hey, I'm a melee gamer, that's how I want to do it, and they'll let you do that. So it is. I haven't built one out completely to its hilt to see if it really changes the game drastically. But what I've played so far, it's quite interesting, and it's way better than the first. Like way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check it out. I just felt like the first one was kind of doing too much, and it didn't really feel like a full-fledged RPG like The Witcher, even though it was.
Well,
but then
the
it
first
also
one,
didn't feel
I would say
focused enough.
I would honestly say that the first one wasn't going for The Witcher. The first one was more going really for Forbidden West, for what do you call it? Breath of the Wild, kind of. But obviously, it didn't do it as well. This one, the new one, is definitely going for more Witcher vibe. Like the new one, the settlements, every land is very different. The people are very nuanced. They're very different from the other folks you saw. They have different everything, different culture. They have their own way of doing everything, and they make sure you know it. It's very much effort put into building the world and the different settlements that have popped up since the world ended. This is like post-apocalyptic, so it's all brand new.
Like, because for me, like Zero Dawn just felt like, and I don't want to take anything away from it, because like you could tell like they put a ton of work into this, and then like graphics, and I mean, I don't think the graphics were like better than or not worse, but not like infinitely better than Gears 5, right? But it sort of felt like, okay, you want to be an RPG, but you're not fully an RPG. And then you want to be a sort of linear game, but you're not really a linear game. And it was like, I would have appreciated if they leaned into one or the other, right? You want to be a narrative story driven, taking me on this thing, that's fine. But now we're doing all this other stuff, and I want to see the story. Or if we're going to be an RPG, let's really be an RPG and go in. And so hopefully Forbidden West kind of fixes that. And again, that's nothing to do with how amazing the graphics are and all the work they put in and all that.
So I got a quick question for you then, Everborn. What category would you put Assassin's Creed like Valhalla in then? Because it does a lot of these same elements as far as like a skill tree.
It's the same reason I started Valhalla and played for like 5 hours and was like, I'm not doing this. So I'm very finicky, but it really did feel like once Assassin, because I hate that the Ubisoft formula where it's like map cleaning, and I really loved the way Breath of the Wild handled their open world, and even the way that Halo Infinite handled their open world. You just go somewhere, you see something, there's something to do.
Part 2 of this game handles it very much more in that way. It's not open map. It is an open map, and it's not just points of interest on said map. There are points of interest as far as locations, but the side quests are doled out to you as you come across them. Not like, hey, here's just a smattering of points of interest you need to just go to. It is far more immersive in the way they dole it out to you. So you might like that. The first one, not so much.
And one last thing before we move on, because I don't want to stay on Zero Dawn forever, is I played all of the sort of PS4 greatest hits on the PS5, because as everybody knows, I took like 5 years off of gaming, came back this generation, played all these games when their bugs were fixed, 60 FPS patch, beautiful, best way to play, right? But when I was doing my homework for God of War and Spider-Man, I did not get the feeling that I got for Horizon, which was sort of like, this one actually feels like homework. The other ones, I'm like, wow, I'm having an amazing experience.
You're comparing an MCU back
Not
game.
MCU.
Well, but Spider-Man, come on, a Marvel character game, which everyone is like has a predisposition to love if you're a kid of the 80s of some sort, comparing it to a wholly new IP that has to grab you. They had you at Spider-Man. Like, come on. Be honest.
No, I mean, yeah, if they had me at Spider-Man, I would have played it in 2018. But I'm just saying that it just needed it. It needed it to me, and this is only my selfish gamer preference. I'm not
Sure.
like making an indictment on the game itself. I know 20 million people have like bought this game, so like who the hell am I? But I'm
Right.
just
That's
telling
right.
my experience
Sure.
where it didn't have that certain what the French call
Je
a
ne sais
certain
quoi.
I don't know what.
Mr. went to the Eiffel Tower. Now he's got Paris words for me. All right, thank you. No, I hear you. I hear you on that. And like I said, it's not for everyone. If you did have a spark of the first one, you'll definitely like the second one. This tells me, especially your experience with Assassin's Creed, tells me you might not be. This might not be a game that you are in a predisposition to appreciate.
Well,
So
once you tell me a game is 100 hours, you already like you really got to be something special to get me in there. To
I mean,
put
this is
100
not
hours.
100
into anything.
hours. This is not 100. I
No,
put
I'm
50
talking
hours
about
in.
for Assassin's Creed.
Okay, yeah. I put 50 hours
Yeah.
into this game because I've just liked all the side quests. So there's an idea of ludo narrative dissonance, like the concept that you're going to go save the world, but hey, I need this pot because it's the only pot that I use to make my dinner, and now go get that for me while the world is needing saving. Fetch quests like that, yeah. That has always been an issue in games. This game, like handles that the best way I've seen.
I don't know what it says about my empathy, but I never care about people's problems in these games. I'm like, I don't care about the broken leg that you're missing. I don't care about them pigeons in Spider-Man. Whoever's calling me up in Cyberpunk, help me solve this murder. I don't care about your problems.
But that
I
pigeon in
have an
Spider-Man is
AI in
ridiculous.
my head that's trying to kill me.
That pigeon in
Don't call me
Spider-Man,
with this
that
stuff.
is the problem right there. This game handles it in a much, like every side quest somehow, some way fleshes out the main story. It's not let's go off to the side and do something ridiculous. They all seem to work in concert with the main story and the main idea and what you're there for.
So it's similar to the Witcher, and how the Witcher had their side quests sometimes feel like it's part of the campaign.
The important things are doled out in the side quest that you would think, hey, this shouldn't be a side quest. A lot of that is happening here. Now, it's not to say there's none of that. There's none of the, hey, I need that special fruit that's on that mountain. Go get that for me. There's some of that as well. But by and large, more of it is like side quests that inform the story. So
can we normalize telling me what I'm gonna get for going and being somebody's errand boy in a game before I go on that quest?
So what, you want to know the rewards you'll get first?
Yeah, like what are you paying me to do this?
Like MMOs, yeah. Like what's the reward for
Selfish
doing
gamer.
the task that you're given?
Tell me what kind of sword or armor I'm gonna get, and then I will decide if I give a crap about your problems. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know, like, so just everyone. So what was your guide then? What was your game of the year last year?
Death's Door, but then Halo Infinite came out, and I've been having a conflicted sort of love affair with Halo Infinite because it is my favorite Halo since Halo 3. And even then, I put it like right up there next to it, and I really am excited. The foundation they set. I know they have work to do, but whatever the next story is in that world, whatever part of Zeta they open up, if they bring back Locke, which they should. If I want to know what Blue Team is doing, like all these things, and I do not play the multiplayer, because again, I don't like people. But also, I just don't. I need to be progressing towards something. So what I hope, and I know everything doesn't need to be Destiny, but I feel like with the formula they set up, if you could bring your Spartan into Halo Zeta, the Zeta Ring, after you've completed the campaign, and now that world is just there for you to play with your friends in your multiplayer Spartan. And now you can kind of go on raids together. I would be super into that instead of just a PvP where we rinse and repeat and do the same thing.
Got it. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. And similarly, I don't play it.
What about you,
I
Asante?
also,
what was your guide?
Similar to Mr. Everborn Saga. It is, for me though, it is a close between Halo Infinite and Guardians of the Galaxy, believe it or not. because I really enjoyed that game. That game came
That
out
terrible lock-on
Yeah.
system.
They just
And
got an
that
award.
the weird combat that's super convoluted and you don't know what's going on.
I love
Wow.
I love letting him go
They just
off.
got
Go
an
ahead. The
award
story
for that
was
story,
amazing. Go
though.
ahead, man. Go ahead.
Is the story enough to
Yeah,
to make it game of the year though?
Hey, speaking of the story being good enough or not, let's talk about Elden Ring and the
Okay.
reviews. That
Nice dodge. Nice dodge.
Let's go. Let's go.
So, all right. Let's get more into. Oh, and of course, there we go. My screen needs to. I need to
Smooth
bring up
move.
What smooth move? Calm yourself. I need to bring up the
Keyboard and seat. That's what I'm gonna say.
keyboard and seat. Yeah. Let me bring up the video. There you go. Okay. So now we'll have a quick conversation about this. So okay. This thing had a bunch of like. Did you remember seeing the image of all of the reviews, all of the 10s? Like, I don't know if, and I'll start with you, Delilah. You saw that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
10s everywhere.
Yeah.
5 out of 5s everywhere. Little advertisement marketing splash screen.
Perfect scores.
Perfect
everywhere.
scores. Yeah, I've
Exactly.
seen it.
And when that happened, my
Right.
sus meter went through the roof because
Mine too.
because I know this team, and people love the game, and I'm not going to discount anyone who loves the game, but it's a game that's even within the hardcore environment, it is a niche within a niche. It's a minority within a minority within a minority. This game type, right? So when this came out, I was like, we shall wait and see, right? And of course, even before folks got their hands on it, there were already reports that it runs pretty badly on console, whether it be PlayStation or Xbox, and it runs badly on PC, which is, to me, that's a canary in the coal mine. If your game runs bad on PC, where the scaling is infinite, then we have a bit of an issue. But needless to say, as far as the reviews are coming up, people are still standing behind their 10 out of 10. Those who play this type of game. Let's start with you, Delilah. Early impressions. Have you played the game?
Sure.
Are you predisposed to the FromSoft life? How you feel about it?
I have my reservations when it comes to Souls games, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask on this. But you're right, my sus meter also shot through the roof when I saw those scores. I'm like, come on, like it's, and then the fact that if you go on Metacritic right now, they still do not have the user score enabled for people, and it's the game released yesterday. Normally they turn that thing on as soon as the game drops. So I don't know what's going on there. It normally don't take 2 days for the user score submission to be able to be enabled. Hopefully, if you check now, is up, but I doubt it. I've been checking. I'm like, where's the user score at? Because I got a feeling that things may pan out a little bit different. Because I tried to do my homework a little bit on this game because I game share, so I haven't really got a game full blown like retail and I win it. And it was my turn to purchase, and I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm getting the bang for my buck. But yeah, I have my reservations. Because I look at what kills me with this game, and it's the only thing I have. My only gripe with it is the fact that it's a new IP, but it looks like Dark Souls 4. Like, okay, why do you have the same death animation? Why you have the same death graphic? Or why you have the same enemies? Reskin in some kind of way. So it's like for me, it's an open world Dark Souls, but it has a completely different name, like Elden Ring, new IP. I expected to see something completely different, not so much, have the same you died animation when you die. Like, it's little things like that just kind of irks me, because it's like you just could have called it Dark Souls 4 and it probably would have sold.
When did Dark
just as
Souls?
well.
Well,
3
you know
come
what,
out?
Everborn, let me throw it to you, but exactly to the point that you just made before we went into this topic about if the reviewers will look at it the same way. It seems to me like the people who review this game are just reviewing it based on the gameplay or the moment to moment alone, and everything else around it is not taken into consideration. Graphics,
Right.
The color tone. It is literally like the same game, but put in an open world.
Even if you're only judging it on the gameplay, the Souls genre it's like they've created their own genre, and I do not feel like it is. Once you have to say you have to be a Souls player to be into it, like can you really say that even judging it on the gameplay alone is enough to say? And again, I'm not talking about like, okay, the aggregate score. I'm talking about everyone that just gave it, perfect marks. And again, we've had this conversation back when it came to Halo, and they were saying, a 5 out of 5 is not a perfect score. It just means, the game.
It checks
right.
some boxes, right?
And all of that is fine. But what I'm saying is, it is, if we want to call it the perfect Souls game, should we mention that somewhere in the review?
That it's the perfect.
Or are we
Souls
saying
game?
it's a, because the way I was like looking at some of this stuff, people are calling it like a masterpiece. Now, is it a masterpiece in general, just moving gaming forward? I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you all can really like have looked at the differences between Elden Ring and other Souls games. It's like it took things from Sekiro, and with the instant kills and being able to, things like that. They added that you could do more stealth-based gameplay. You can get around. You have a mount. It's just more things you can do in Elden Ring, and I think that's what makes it a little bit more approachable when comparing it to other Souls games. Like if you get, you can't. It's like it's impossible for you to get stuck, right? Like if you get to a boss that you can't be, you can literally just walk out. I'm gonna run off and go do something else. So I think that's what opened people up to it, and I can understand the scores in that regard because it's a different flavor. But again, it's what kills me with this game is the fact that it's supposedly a new IP, and it's I'm annoyed by the fact that it has the same animations, and I'm annoyed by the fact that it looks just like any other Dark Souls,
it seems like
Demon
it suffers
Souls
from
game.
that whole Ubisoft idea where they keep regurgitating ideas from one game and adding it to another game. But at least with Ubisoft, they get their hand slapped for that when they keep doing that. Whereas in this instance, no one seems to care that it's literally a regurgitation of other games.
It's like, oh, it's more of the same, and then I guess my
give them the credit though. Like Lucius Augustus and a bunch of other folks that are in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining the part of the conversation. Lucius says, "Well, the story isn't Dark Souls though," and I'll give you that.
But
please,
let me say this though. Ask someone to explain the story.
Yes, exactly. I had to watch an explainer video where the story is there and it's well explained. It's just good luck getting any of that from the game. Like it's just really obtuse and odd, and and when somebody else who loves this show,
just like any other
this game, like explains it to you or they break it down, then you go, oh, okay, I can understand it now. But the game itself does not do that.
But it shouldn't take that. If a game is doing great at storytelling, it shouldn't take someone else explaining it to you for you to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get into it now. No, that's not how it works. It's like craft a good story. Show some CG and really, walk the player through it.
And and also Big Bad Mo, shout out to you. He's saying this is the first one he's played, the first Souls game he's played, and he's loving it so far. So it's hitting with some people,
So for me, I'm sorry if I require a little bit more onboarding.
Hand holding?
In the beginning, yes, right?
Yes.
Because listen, and again, not everything needs to be compared to Breath of the Wild. I get it. It's an overused comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Sue me, right? But you can go fight Ganon in the beginning of the game. After you get off through the hand-holding part and you jump down, onto the island itself, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you want, you can fight Ganon right away. And it is a sense of you're going to explore in order to build up your courage to when you feel you are strong enough to go after Ganon, right? And progressively, depending on the order that you take the bosses out, you can defeat them. So it's not that, there's no challenge there. There is a challenge and you build yourself up to it. It feels like when I just walked out, right? Mm-hmm. Like literally, the first place I walked out of, I got killed in one hit with that horse dude.
I did see that video.
Like one hit. You're introducing me to this game. I walk out. Here's a random dude on the horse that I wasn't even sure he saw me.
Peace out.
Knocks me on the ground. Because I have to go through these animations and there's no canceling out animations. The get up, the stand up from the floor animation doesn't allow me to move, and he can just hit me like that. And to me, I get it. Like, so now I have to know that I need to, like, you know, run away from that guy until later on. But it seems mean-spirited, if that makes any sense. It's like you walk into the game and they're like, F you. See, right?
But you know
Life
what?
is
That's
hard.
a feature, not a bug. Like, and yeah.
That's right.
And
That's your thing.
Let me tell you, like, roughly what my issue is. And you guys are talking about the difficulty. You're talking about the reason, the fact that they're not iterating, right? It looks like they're just regurgitating things. My problem, and you might understand this, Delilah, because you work in design. My problem is there is no game language here, and it's even if the game is as easy as hell, even if it's you could just go in there and just play and nobody can kill you or what. It does not speak a language that you, the gamer, the hardcore gamer, I'm not talking about just any casual, a person that puts hours into games, it does not speak a language that anybody can just sit down and understand. It doesn't speak that language.
I actually remapped all my buttons.
There you go.
So
The
now
way the
X
button
is my
controls
regular
work,
attack
that's right,
and Y
that's
is
right.
the heavy attack.
I was talking to...
Yeah, so you're not a fan of the
Not at all.
bumpers and triggers.
No,
or
bumpers
attack
and triggers are for shooting people and throwing bombs
You see,
the way
that
God
is-
intended.
The way God intended. That is the conversation, that is the language that the gamer has learned, right? I was talking to, shout out to Mr. Boomstick. I was talking to Mr. Boomstick about this game. And he's like, look, man, I walked through the world 2 hours scrolling around, trying to find things. And then one reason or another led me back to the beginning of the game. And then I happened to sit down on this bench. And then guess what? A cutscene rolls in and then I got my mount. How did I not know 2 hours ago, right coming out of my cave, that I had to sit down on this bench to get this mount? That is design language. If there's no way that they point you to, hey, idiot, sit down on this bench, and it's not you, the idiot, right? It's the game that should be telling you that, right? You can walk through the whole game and miss critical, necessary things. He's like, yo, I'm playing through this game. I want to learn it. I'm trying to find my potion because I'm getting hit. What is potion? Where is potion? How do you use it?
So, wait. Do you think people are really trying to invest their time and effort in this game because of the review scores? And like, I want to see why this is so awesome. So
it is the hype.
Like, I saw it in '97. I was like, okay,
it's the hype.
Because I give Metacritic a 5-point standard deviation. So either direction. Because usually when something scores there, I'll say either add 5 points or take 5 points away, and that's usually about how I feel about it.
See, I do that too. I do like if it's an Xbox exclusive, I do like a 2-point buffer, and if it's a PlayStation exclusive, I do a 2-point decrease buffer. And it usually works out. I usually like how it just like, okay, it's about an 8. Because I play God of War, love God of War, but I think it's an 8 out of 10. It's not for me. I'm an adventure game person. Like, I love adventure games. To me,
did it lose points because he can't jump?
You know.
And all the boys.
That's part of it. That's part of it. It's a lot of things about. I can go on, but I don't want DMs to be filled with crap. So I can go on about the God of War formula and how it was done years ago and other adventure games generations ago.
Hey, listen, hold on. Man. Send all the hate DMs to me. I will fight that fight. I'm happy to do it.
We here for it. Let's go.
I'm here for the smoke.
It's I just hate when people say, "Oh, it was a masterpiece," and it's like, okay, that first fight scene, that first fight was. A lot of the boss fights that were incredibly crafty.
You mean all three of them that they just did over and over? I said it.
I was going to go into that. But, that first fight, though, that was groundbreaking. The way they did the cutscenes and the way it transitioned is like, that to me was something that you can consider like innovation in the space. Outside of that, of course, we've seen it before. They could have changed the name from being God of War to like Super Viking, and it would have been You know,
Shout
like,
out to
let me just.
shout out to
I just
Slow
wanna
Mo
leave it there.
Backstab saying, "I see y'all brought a queen on the panel to counteract Everborn Saga's foolishness." Welcome, good sir. I appreciate you being here, Slow Mo. Thank you.
Oh,
No,
boy.
but I think I agree
Thanks,
with you on that.
Slow-Mo.
When it comes to God of War, the reason why I hold that game in a special place in my heart, it happened to have come out right when I had my daughter, my firstborn. So the whole father son it
The
touches a different
dynamic,
place for me. But
yeah.
once you play it now, removed, you see all of those problems. You see all, like, come on now, you know.
So-
it could have been and should have been far better.
Another thing too, like I see Horizon, you know, I see that and I just immediately think Tomb Raider, you know, or the remake, the Tomb Raider remake when I see that game. So to me, it's like, okay, you know, I'm now in the current things that I want in next gen. It's like I want better and you know, enemy AI. I want better physics, better storytelling. That's what I want in the games. It's like everybody is just grabbing each other's gameplay elements and making their own mix of
So,
them. It's like that's
To me,
I want something
right?
else.
I think even more than story, it's like, and definitely more than graphics, it is your gameplay loop. And this is why I have like a love-hate relationship with Returnal, because I love the loop. I think they were doing something interesting, but it was not the best implementation of a roguelike, right? And you couple that with the bugs, I just feel like it didn't respect people's times, and you have some nerves, you know, not allowing people to save when you have, you know, game breaking bugs where doors won't work. That being said, the loop itself,
Which they fixed. To be fair,
they didn't, because it's still, you know,
they fixed the doors.
you know, they
Calm
took
down.
away the option to go back to the your ship to like sleep and restore your health.
You can go back to your ship, but you can't sleep.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, if you spent all this time, you spent 5 hours trying to get to a boss, and there's no more health left for you to pick up, and now you have to go to the boss with 15% health, and there's nothing you can do. Like, what are we doing? So for me, like, although I love the loop, and I will always appreciate that game for that, I don't know. Like, I'll never play it again until they get rid of that, and they're not going to get rid of that. So there's that. Halo Infinite is another one. That gameplay loop, above everything else, is what I loved about it. It's the same with Death's Door, right? So for me, paramount above everything, above all the glitz and glamour, but they try to hide these repeated tropes with, is when you get that gameplay loop right. So I'll always value that over everything. And I was just gonna say another real game that was huge for me last year was Resident Evil Village, because I had skipped 7, and I played that whole game after midnight, because that's the only time I get during the week, and with the headphones. With the Astro A50 headphones.
I honestly think you missed out on 7. 7 was more scary. It was far scarier than 8. Like far scarier than 8.
I know, but I tried to go back and play 7, and after you play 8, it's hard to, after you've had military training, you're not as afraid of these people, to go back and say, this is a crazy dude in the house running after me. I'm like, I just killed this huge monster looking thing. And then that last level where it turned into COD.
Exactly.
It's hard to go back.
I think that broke Resident Evil a little bit. Yes, exactly.
I loved it. I'm like, they really kind of paid who respect, and you came in there and you felt like you were taking names and kicking ass.
So let's come back to the point at hand now. Before we get off of Elden Ring, I wanna ask you guys just a little bit about that hive mind stuff, right? At some point, there were 100 reviews or something? And no, it was 40 reviews at some point, and most of them were all 100%. One or two from other platforms weren't as glowing, but by and large, it kept the Metacritic really, really, really high, right? And we have now learned that PC, console, all very much bad shape in this. And actually, the only way to play this thing relatively decent, and please, you folks keep me honest in the chat, the only way to play this decently is to play the PS4 version on PS5. Because
I don't know. If you got a VR capable TV.
Well, no, that's fine. But basically, the reason, because I'm getting somewhere with this, right? Just like Cyberpunk, where they all happen to have played it on relatively decent computers, right? Relatively decent PC rigs. It came out glowing until the masses touched it and realized that, hey, there's a problem here. Are we thinking that everyone played this on a PS5? Because there's no mention, like zero mention, of all of the performance issues among all of the reviews. It makes me go, what's up with that, right? There were lots of reviews that came out for this game. People who put hundreds of hours on it. I watched SkillUp's review video. Great, well thought out. Please, go ahead. Yes.
I think going into a game and expecting it not to have zero bugs is just not realistic in our current
to your point real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off. I really think we have to get more mature about these things. I'm not saying you accept mediocrity. I'm not saying you be a beta boy, as King David has coined.
Shout out to the ILP.
But I am saying games are becoming more complex. We do not live in a world where someone can finish a game and then take another 2 years to do that kind of QA. Nintendo still does that.
Well, hold on now.
That sounds good. That's exactly what I was about to say. That sounds fantastic with the Nintendo.
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that we should be holding them accountable for bugs. I'm saying that in the normal world that we live today, Halo Infinite gets a review dashed because of foliage pop in. All of them are held to a certain standard. Whether you like or you dislike Forbidden West, people saw those graphics. Some people went, oh, they've elevated, great. Others went, oh, well, most of the gameplay, most of this stuff, it's just an evolution, a small evolution. They didn't go all the way. You can't climb everything.
And it has pop in too, right?
Really bad
pop in too.
This game has serious performance issues across the board everywhere you play, except if you're playing a PS4 version on a PS5. None of that was taken into consideration when Perfect 10s were flying left and right. I'm wondering why that is.
Maybe they were recommend.
Well, shout out to the person who wrote this, Chris Scullion, or how you say it, Scullion. Shout out for him pointing this out, because this could have easily not been reported and not posted. And it's like, then you think you're when you see the hive mind, as you put it, of everybody getting this 10 out of 10 game, you would have easily assumed that the game's perfect. And
even on the current gen consoles now, if you run the real version of it, you're getting roughly 45 to 55 frames per second, right? There is no lock anywhere unless you're playing the old school the last gen version on the next gen console. Which a quick aside is kind of interesting because what do you call it? What is the buzzword?
Sorry, can you highlight Slow-Mo's comment?
Sure.
His last two comments.
So from the software, let's see, from the software that reaches round table.
From software, not from the from software.
Yeah, exactly. From soft has reached round table of the past. Reviewers now review their games separately than they do other developers. Naughty Dog, Rockstar, Nintendo are also at that table too. Okay.
Ooh.
And he says, and his next comment is CDPR and Bethesda lost their seats.
They lost their seat. Yeah.
So they get more. Well, did they? Well, okay. Bethesda may have lost their seat, but maybe not Arcane.
Maybe not Arcane. Yeah. It is an interesting take, though.
Arcane delivers, though. Like you can't. I mean. Yeah. Arcane, they still.
But that idea that they're not in that club, so they have to be criticized, or they
win off of their charm.
Yeah, because this whole.
It's like, oh, it's Naughty Dog. It's gonna be a 10,
right? Yeah.
It's
because the Naughty Dog, because the idea of that hive mind mentality is really true. Like it really is. I walked into this game knowing that it might be more approachable, it might be more interesting, but I was under no illusions that this was not a FromSoft game. where literally not only is the difficulty a thing that you have to contend with, it's deciphering what they mean. Oh, is this a potion? Is this what I need to do? Like, that's even part of the game, right? And most folks don't want to deal with that, right? We are from the world where you see the red barrel, you know what that means. That is analytical to what these guys want to present in their game. So the idea that it's a perfect 10 across the board, I was like, that's going to come and bite somebody in the butt sooner rather than later, you know.
Well, now let me ask you a question, right? And this is another more important, not more important, but should we look at reviews based on people who sort of understand the games and are fans of the games? Right? Okay. So if you're if this is a Soulsborne game reviewed by Soulsborne stans,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Because it is, it's a very sort of kind of cult classic niche genre. What if this probably would work as a double-edged sword for Halo because Halo fans are insane. But what if you said you had Halo hardcore fans only reviewing Halo, or only,
Well, see, I in a way, like, that's interesting because I know some Halo fans are super critical,
and some of them,
they're not gonna just say,
but yeah.
He says this as a Halo stan himself, but
who needs clinical help? Yes, I'm speaking from experience.
Sure. No, but I hear you. I hear you. Like, it seems that maybe we need to come to a world where disclosure is presented before these reviews are put out, because it seems like it makes you wonder who's giving all these glowing reviews when, like, most, I will stand on this square and say most folks that will buy this game because of the hive mind hype will be disappointed. Most.
Listen, I think the best way, and this will never happen, is to, like they've done at The Verge with their tech reviews, you get rid of scores. You can give people bullet points and you give an ultimate recommendation.
But how will people be able to use the score wars to, get one over on them?
Which they get most of their traffic from.
True.
So that's why it'll never happen. But I really feel like the only way we can have any sort of substantive conversation instead of the base console war stuff or people disagreeing with scores for games that they don't like or games that they are apologists for, is like if you just get rid of that score, and it forces people to actually go in, see what these reviewers are saying, because a lot of them put in hard work, and then there's that discussion like you have to beat a game to review it, which I think there should be reviews from casual reviews from casuals for casuals.
Yes.
Right?
That's what I'm talking about with disclosure. Absolutely.
And listen, if any one of the people that says you need to finish a game to give a review or thoughts on it, have you ever played a game and decided after 40 hours into it, this is not for me? So I'll tell you right now, I put 120 hours into Destiny, right? Destiny 1. Yeah. Or 200, 400, whatever hours I put in. You can go look at Everborn Saga. You can see my stats for Destiny 1. I can't say that I finished that game. I mean, there's no finishing, but can I review it? Right? If I put 50 hours into Elden Ring, is that not enough to say I have thoughts on it? Now, should you disclose that you didn't beat the game? Sure. But I think if you put time into something, you should be able to speak on it, because every one of us can play a game and we can give you nuance just because you didn't see the ending. If you're just like not doing your job, skimming past the game, and you're giving things that are just factually wrong, that's a different story. But I think a blanket statement saying that you can.
Gabe O is asking us real quick. Gabe O is asking, how do you define a casual gamer?
People who's not arguing in these Twitter streets all day.
Or not on this
But
podcast,
even
and not
more to
know.
that, to Elden Ring specifically, I would consider all of us when talking about a cat like within Elden Ring's frame specifically, we are all casual gamers because we're one that we cannot crack that Elden Ring nut, right? We can't get that far because even within because we are all hardcore gamers who are on these podcasts, who are listening, who are even within our ranks, most of us. Like we separate the wheat from the chaff, as it were. Most of us will not get to the end of Elden Ring, right? So within that frame, specifically with FromSoft games, specifically, it seems that they separate, hardcore gamers from the rest of us, And I'll be honest, I'll say that, right? I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I bought it. I'm waiting for a few patches to be applied before I start getting into it. But I'm walking in eyes wide open, knowing that this is their most approachable one yet, and I probably won't be able to give it more than 10 hours max.
Here's the thing,
okay.
I don't expect this game to be like fully patched until we're in the PS6, Xbox, whatever generation, and you get the backwards compatibility 60 FPS update.
Yeah, people are still waiting for that Bloodborne 60 FPS update on PlayStation 4, which they still have not. Well, 4/5, which still has not come up. But okay, we will move on because
they already got it in
have
Elden Ring, though.
And for the record, for those of you who are within that niche of a niche, we are not hating on y'all game. I'm just saying that the way that it was reviewed and the way it came out seemed to give it an unrealistic expectation to the rest of us.
Here's something else to consider, right? How many reviews did Forbidden West get? Like the count, not the score, the count.
Oh, that you're putting me on the spot. I can find that for you in a few
105.
105, okay.
As of a few days ago, maybe it's more now.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. On PS5, only 44 reviews.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
On Xbox Series X, 8 reviews that gave it the 95 score, and 35 reviews on PC. Now, Halo, 100 views on the Series X, 100 reviews, 115 reviews.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever there's a big, you can go to Ratchet and Clank, also 100 and something reviews, right? Same thing with Returnal. For some reason, this game did not hit 100 reviews in any platform. And what does that tell you? It was probably because it was only Souls fans that reviewed it.
That's right. Yeah, that's probably what it is. It is a Souls game for Souls fans and Souls reviewers only.
It's like a breakdown.
It's FUBU. Well, no, FUSU. For Souls by Souls.
By Souls. There you go. All right. Well, okay. Let us move on, right? And let's have a quick chat. Let's have a quick chat about Valve, Valve and their Steam Deck. We'll get to the other parts of Valve, the Valve stuff after we have a quick discussion about the Steam Deck. So first and foremost, who here, and I'll also ask the chat, who here went and put the down payment on your $5 on the Steam Deck? Delilah, did you do it?
I did. I'm a tech head. I got to get it.
And Mr. Everborn Saga, I think you did as well, right?
And the only one I could get was the $649 version because their site on the pre-order day was trash. Okay. Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah, it crashed out.
Yep. So now, I think we've already, but let's share it with the public here. I'm Q2, which is tier Q2, and Delilah, you're Q2 straight same. Q2 or after?
Yeah, I'm upset about that because I feel like I
does
got
it say Q2 or does it say after Q2 like mine?
It says after Q2.
2023.
Okay.
I'm breaking everybody's bubble. Okay.
It's not okay. So let me tell you what the breakdowns are. Right. They've since all of this stuff has happened, and obviously for dear viewers and dear listeners, the Steam Deck is quote unquote officially out, but only a few. Obviously, the first batch are going out to the public. They have now come out and told you what the Qs now mean. So if you are Q1, you will be expected to get an email. The next batch of emails is Monday. And then every Monday from there, you will get new batches of emails for the Q1s. Q2, which is me, specifically Q2, is starting from April. And then from April, every Monday in April, more and more people will be sent Q2 emails. If you had after Q2, they said, stay tuned. And officially, Valve's after Q2, which is Q3, is September. So that's when they're starting, and the hope is that by that time, the way that the factories are building it will not be in batches, and they'll just release it to the public in general. So chances are, if you are after Q2, when it happens, you'll get it all at once, rather than this staggered Monday
or 2023
or 2023. Clearly,
I don't want to set anybody up for disappointment. I'd like to be pleasantly surprised, but as usual, I think I'm right.
Sure, you're talking about don't expect to see it anytime until in the fall or in the winter if you're after Q2, depending on when you reserved your major reservation. But have any of you like checked out any of these reviews, whether it be the technical breakdowns, since this thing is now quote unquote officially out? They lifted embargo, so there's been a lot of conversation about the UI and the operating system and all of this. I'll start with you, Delilah. What have you seen about this?
Well, when you said that as a topic, I had to take a quick look. I didn't go through the entire reading of it, but I'm nervous because I put my money down, and I definitely want a device. So I'm confident that they'll be able to maybe patch some of the things that was mentioned in the article. And as far as frame rate and things like that, I heard that they had talked about like the analog sticks are pretty good.
Not offset.
Placement of the buttons a little bit. Yeah, me too.
The problem with that is imagine holding the offset. That'd be a little odd in the way.
First of all, this thing is like a surfboard.
You can make it work. You can make it work. They have third-party controllers that works with Game Pass
that are offset. Yeah, you're right.
Android controllers that are offset,
Okay.
so they can make it work. Same thing with Switch. Like they can make it work.
See that Sonic controller Boom got?
So
I did. Let's move quickly on, shall we? By the way, Delilah, this man takes any moment he can get to make this show about Sonic or about Sega, and we have to move quickly along, otherwise we derail quickly.
All right.
Yes, we heard you.
Fine.
Sonic, get your drinks up. Continues.
Doing my craziness in front of company. I apologize.
yeah, but I'm nervous. But now that I know that I have to wait till possibly September, I'm pretty sure that by the time I get my hands on one, they probably have been ironed out all the kinks. I just hope it doesn't get bit by the Steam curse, because I've had the Steam little thing. I got the controller right here. The little I've had the little
you've had the
Steam card,
which helped with the remote play.
The Steam Link. Called the Steam Link. Yeah, I've had the Steam Link. And they said in the touch pads they mentioned that they were like the Steam Link controller, and I'm not a fan of those touch pads, so I'm like, okay, hopefully I can disable those and kind of go on about my life, because I'm not a fan of those touch pads, but each his own. Like I said, I hope it's just all the things are ironed out before I get my hands on my official device, selfishly, right, or something. But we'll see. I mean, I did read about how Gabe Newell wants to, incorporate Xbox Game Pass in some way. So I'm excited about that,
And then they buy Sega and they call the Steam Deck the Game Gear 2.0, baby.
Rein it back in. Stop the Sega slack. What about you, Everborn Saga? Like, I know you also reviewed. You also put your money down when I did that morning when we were all F5 and frantically.
I didn't get it until the afternoon because their site is
trash. Yep.
Hot garbage. I want to curse, but again, I'm trying to be
appreciate
respectful.
You for the PG-13. Appreciate you. Good job. Yes. But yes, you've seen
Everborn
some of
is
these.
for the children.
That's right.
No,
you've
like
seen
Wu-Tang.
some of these reviews. You've heard some of the conversations. Those who are lucky enough to get their hands on it at first. What do you think now? Are you still excited for it? Are you now, is this purchase still locked in, or might you cancel beforehand?
Well, I was very seriously considering canceling because you have to consider a few things about me. I am like, PC gaming is the bane of my existence, right?
Boy. Here we go.
I also have literally I can count the number of times I've played my Switch in handheld mode probably on one hand.
Okay.
But I know you
Please, go
probably go
ahead,
into a
Delilah,
spiel
yeah.
about like how you feel about. The thing is though, like you do know that the Steam Deck it has a dock too, so you can dock it just like you can get the dock and you can dock it just like you can a Switch. To me, that's the most appealing part because I'm just like I like you, like I play my Switch docked. I prefer to play it on my TV. I got a bomb TV, so I might as well play it on that.
And the screen of the Steam Deck, by all accounts,
so
is
yeah.
like fantastic. So if you have a better
But
TV,
even to that end,
it's
Is it
not
an
an
OLED?
No,
Is it
no,
OLED
it's
screen?
LCD,
No?
and even the
come
color
on.
reproduction on said LCD is not that great. But again, these are early adopter situation. Also, they keep costs low, so they had to lose some features. You know, obviously, you're not comparing it to the Switch OLED. That screen is way better. But you know, I'm sorry. Continue. Yes. So you're go ahead.
But even then, like for me, if I'm gonna connect it to the TV, if I'm connecting the Switch to the TV, it's because I'm playing an indie game that is like easily accessible there, or I'm playing one of the Nintendo amazing games. But most of these things that are on the Steam Deck, I'll be able to play on Xbox. So if I'm going to connect it to the TV, why not just play it at the Xbox with better performance than the Steam Deck?
Well, because think about this: if Horizon Forbidden West releases on PC, then you kind of have an easy avenue of connecting the device to the TV.
People have been playing the first Horizon on the Steam Deck because it's obviously available now. God of War has is being played on the Steam Deck now because it's available. Shout out to Slow-Mo Backslap. Yeah. He says, "Sell your GPU, Everborn." I'm sorry.
And I said, "What about my Bitcoin mining?"
Please, you're not mining any Bitcoin.
Hey.
I'm not. It's true. But I could. That's the point.
Yeah. It's an option.
The only reason I got this PC is because of the PC MR troglodytes. They would say, "My PC is better than Xbox." And I will say, "But is your PC?"
So you spend the money for the bragging right?
For the grand,
that's the only reason?
You see, you hear this? Terrible.
So is your PC better than my PC? That's what I will say to them. And every time I win that argument. So, not against you because you got the TI. But maybe I'll have to upgrade.
So my take on the whole Steam Deck thing.
Well, I wasn't finished on it. Are we going to talk about the Gabe Newell thing?
I apologize. Please. Yeah, we're definitely going to go into the Gabe Newell part
all right.
of it.
So I won't transition to that.
Yeah,
but
just go straight to the actual hardware itself. People have had their hands on it. The battery life, the screen, the controllers. What do you think?
Oof.
I mean, still as interested, and for me, it's more on the tech side than it is actually caring to game on it. But again, I just don't see myself. First of all, I don't go anywhere, right? I don't take the train. So when I go somewhere, I do drive. And when
if you were going somewhere, you probably wouldn't want to take this with you anyway. The battery life is terrible.
This is what I mean. So am I going to sit in my house just to, the 3080's right here, right? The Xbox is in the living room and the bedroom, or the PlayStation, same thing. Am I going to get this to do what? Right? Because it's not like I can say, well, maybe a screen is free. I have an office right here that I can come to if I want a game on PC. And between the living room and the bedroom, there's always a console available. I don't need it, but just for the yes, exactly.
So what you're saying is you should probably cancel your pre-orders. What you're saying,
especially since I got the one for $650.
You should probably cancel your.
But then old Gabe Newell.
I was about to say, somebody else get it. Please cancel your pre-order. Do it now. Like help somebody else. What's wrong with you?
Or I could get my scalping game on.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Go
ahead. Put that on solid internet. They forget. Don't worry. Go ahead. Keep going.
I don't care. Now they know where to find me when they want to buy one. When they're waiting until 2024.
Okay.
Now.
So you have no real plan. There's no excitement of what you're going to do with this thing when it
This
comes
is
home.
literally so I can unbox it, and I don't do unboxing videos, but it's for my own personal unboxing. I'm going to look at it for a day. I'm going to show it to my wife and say, hey, look at this. And she's going to like, you wasted more money? And I'm going to be like, yes. And then I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to go right back to the Xbox. That's what's going to happen.
So Splendiferous is pointing out that it sounds like someone is in a competition with you, Mr. Asante. But okay, we'll move quickly along.
Ooh. One thing I do want to mention that stood out to me too is the actual weight of it, because it's like it's heavy, like it's 1.5 pounds. That was surprising to me. I'm like, that's a heavy.
Comparing this
handheld
to a Switch. It's not a Switch. It's a
Wow.
mini PC. It is
No,
a computer.
it's a dumbbell that you will use to work out. Like your forearms are going to be like monsters playing this thing.
So a Switch is a mobile phone with controllers stuck on the side. That's what it is. It has the same chipset as a mobile phone that you are keeping in your pocket, right?
That's true.
This thing is literally the PC beast that I'm broadcasting this podcast on. This device can do the same. Obviously, not the same GPU class, but this device.
Let me stop you right there.
Listen carefully.
You can barely get Skype going to start this thing, and now you got to say the Steam Deck can run this show. That has nothing to do
with the hardware. Okay. It has more to do with Skype. Shut your mouth.
All right.
But the point remains. Okay. If you get a dock, a USB-C dock, you can literally place this on your desk. I can hand this to some up-and-coming child or young person, and they can literally make this device with USB, with Bluetooth capabilities. They can make this their full-fledged
child is going to do that, sir. You're going to give them an iPad.
It is possible.
Stop this nonsense.
You can run a full-fledged dual boot Windows. Like, are you crazy? This device is not to be compared.
A kid will want a laptop first. Sure, so they'll want something else.
Your 5-year-old is going to be like, Dad, I can turn this into a mini pizza. I
guess I'm the only one still excited for this thing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm
still the only one excited for this thing. Do you know what I want to do day one on this? I want to take out the SD card that is in my Switch right now. I want to take Breath of the Wild out of it because it's on an SD card, and I want to plug it into the Steam Deck and basically emulate it at almost.
If I can do that,
which you can, 100%,
that will make the thing much more.
Any game you play on Switch, you can take out, plug it in, provided you have a good Switch emulator, which, for the record, folks, emulation is not illegal. It is how you acquire said content that defines its legality.
I have no problem buying the games.
Go to the eShop, download your game, put it on here. Right. You want to get more than the 30 frames per second on these Switch games? Plug it into the Steam Deck. It is
okay. What's a good emulator?
Pro.
Let the people know.
Oh well, no. You can follow me on Twitter for that.
Oh, so Nintendo can go after.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah. We'll get as the device makes itself seen in the Asante household. You will see those reviews and those tips come in. No worries, but that is a possibility for this. I'm looking forward to its emulation capabilities. I'm looking forward to bringing my old Dreamcast games back into forefront. And this thing can handle it all. There's even a chance it could play potential PS3 emulation games, which is the holy freaking grail. Even PlayStation themselves cannot emulate PS3.
Pull back up that article you had on The Verge, though.
Do that now. Mm-hmm.
The one about the Steam Deck. Now, why does it say it's not ready? It's not ready
because of the software.
That's the part I need to.
It's not ready because of the software. Because what they're doing is they're retrofitting. Like, they're retrofitting an existing library into this device, which you can't account for, because that is the first mistake they made. Oh, take your Steam library with you. That is a misnomer. You are not taking your Steam library with you. You're taking some games with you.
Unless you install Windows 11.
Yeah. Unless you install Windows 11. And right now, as the Steam Deck is officially released, there are still no real drivers for Windows 11. So you can install it, but the GPU that runs Steam Deck does not show up by default. You have to install special drivers for it. They have not been released yet, so no one can really test out how good it works in Windows 11 mode. You can install Windows 11 and use it as a PC, and it works great. But the gaming aspects has not been tested yet. So we don't know if Windows 11 is a viable option for the Steam Deck just yet. They promise obviously that drivers will be released, but that all of that lends to the not ready moniker. They're not just The Verge, but a lot of folks have been saying the software is getting there. You know, if you're a Steam or a Valve user, you know how they do. They give you a baseline and they go up from there. One thing that's good about them, in my from what I've seen, they start off humble, right? They'll give you good hardware because by all accounts, this is great hardware. For the price, it is great hardware. You will not find hardware this good unless you're buying an Xbox Series S. Right? This is great hardware.
This is twice the price of the Series S.
Exactly. Sure. Well, no. The base price is still is right in line there. The base price is right in line there. I think it starts at like, what does it start at? $400.
$399.
$399. Sure. So exactly. But this is a really
so you can get
device.
a PS5 all digital.
Sure. Yes, but this is a real mobile device, right? But here's their.
Is it really a mobile device if it only lasts 2 hours?
And that is an interesting place we want to take it, because it's not unlike how most people think in the PCs, in the console space, you get what you get and that's it. This is all within your control. All of it. You want it to last 8 hours, you can. And there are tweaks you can make to your software in order to make it last 8 hours. If you want to approach it like a console player, you turn it on, say, I want the highest fidelity to move on. Yeah, you're going to last for 90 minutes and it's going to move on, right? It is not meant as a console replacement. It is not meant to compete with the Switch, because the Switch gives you what it gives you. It locks in the profile. You can't change anything about it unless you hack a Switch.
So it's not a handheld. You saying it doesn't compete with the Switch. It's not a handheld. Then what? It's a mini PC.
Not a mini PC.
Yes, it is. It is a miniature computer.
No, it can be a mini computer, but it's not a mini computer.
So why they put a screen on it if it's meant to behave like
the reason why I call it a mini computer from jump is because even when you buy it from jump, right? Even if you don't install Windows on it, you can literally minimize the deck, the Steam UI, and have Linux full desktop.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who is going to do that and why?
If you've seen the reviews, every single person who's gotten their hands on it right now has been doing that.
But see, that's because they're reviewing it. They
doing
want
it
to
for what?
Try to push it to
what end, sir?
Just like
the review.
Just like Elden Ring is for the FromSoft players, Steam Deck is for the hardcore techie enthusiasts who like having Linux on their.
Not you talking about is for the hardcore. What are we doing here, sir?
Even Valve themselves have said that they're not ready for prime time. They're not ready for the the mass production. It's for those of you who know that the Steam is a thing and hit F5 the day that thing was out. Not everybody can do that. It's not at Best Buy, right? It's not just available to be purchased by anyone. And by the time it is at Best Buy, they will have tuned it enough. You are talking about
this the way I talk about the Surface Duo 2, and you give me all the smoke. All the smoke,
look,
sir.
This is beta boy territory, and I will be clear about
I'm just saying, I just want to be
hyping this thing, man. Oof. I thought I was bad. The hype.
It is beta boy territory. I have no problem saying so.
I am a chronic early adopter, and that is why I'm getting it. But I know, at least I can acknowledge that I'm not going to use this.
Oh, I'm going to use this.
You are pretending like this is a general purpose computing device that you can just give to your grandmother, and she's going to be like, "Cool, let me get into the Linux terminal."
Who gives a general purpose computing device to your grandmother? What are you talking about? No, I understand. Look, it is squarely for me, and I am not everybody, right? It is squarely within my wheelhouse.
I'm looking forward. Set this thing up as a web server. I can run my own website.
Which you can.
That's hilarious.
You can.
Oh. Well, look, fellas, like I got another show. I got to host.
We are rounding in the bottom of the hour.
So.
Yes, indeed. I apologize. We had you for as long as we have you. We really, really appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being here.
Before you go, and before you do your outro, last question, because we're about to transition to this. Is Microsoft going to buy Valve when old Gabe Newell says he wants to retire?
Do I think that? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. In due time, whatever. Who knows what's going to happen in the next few years? It's acquisition, what they call acquisition season. Boy. Everybody's buying everybody, and these things are just weird. But I mean, I do know that I think Gabe Newell used to be a Microsoftie. Yes. I think. Yeah, I think
and
so.
that's why Valve is right next door.
So I mean, I think he still probably have some relationships. Who knows? But I'm not confirming anything.
Yes. Her words are her words alone. Nothing to do with the employer. Please put that out there
tell
right
us,
now.
but then she'd have to kill us.
But you know what? Before we continue our conversation, thank you so much, Delilah HD, for being here. We appreciate you so much for wanting to spend some time with us while us and our foolishness. This is what we do every Saturday. Yeah. So thank you so much for wanting to be a part of it. And tell the fine folks before you go where they can find you, where they can keep up with all of the stuff that the Grown Woman Gaming is doing.
Sure, yeah. You all know you can follow me on Twitter at Delilah_HD. You can catch me on GWG on Saturdays right after this show, apparently. Ours is at noon on Saturdays. Also, I do think there's a little bit of overlap. I think you guys go a little bit longer. So
concise.
But yeah, but yeah, you can definitely catch us there at the Grown Women Gaming YouTube channel. We're pretty consistent. Like as we just passed our 200 episode milestone for us, and so 201 is today, and I'm hosting. So
thank you so much for being with us. Anyone who may not have her information, you may not have checked out the channel. After this post's up, I will of course be providing all that information in the show notes. Please go out there, check it out. They have such great content. I had not noticed that I hadn't subscribed to the channel. I started deep diving. So much content in there. So I'm 200 episodes. Like amazing. People, that's awesome. So.
Yeah, we hear all the time, you guys are awesome, and they were like, oh, I didn't subscribe.
So please, if you haven't checked it out, folks, go ahead and go.
She's like, oh, you didn't subscribe? I got you. It's cool.
It's cool.
We've corrected that. That corrections have been made. We appreciate it. So yes, cool. We will see you again, and hopefully we'll have you back at some point. But thank you, and hopefully you have a good show today. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Delilah HD. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And thanks for supporting the book. And I need your review, Team Godwin, Team Baltimore.
I will definitely jump into it and read it and give you my the side I choose. But definitely, thank you for that.
Transition. All right. And it's just me and you, good sir, once again. Let me see here. Let me get the chat. The browser back up here. Okay, hold on. Make sure I have it perfectly done here. Give me 1 second. All right, so let me get the browser back up because I don't seem to see it anymore. You know how these gremlins work. Can you still hear me, sir?
I hear you.
Wonderful. I do not see the chat box. Oh, the browser.
All right, so while you figure that out, I'll just go on. I have no idea because I think a Valve acquisition would probably be harder to close than this Activision Blizzard deal. Even though it's a much smaller thing. Because it would effectively mean that Microsoft sort of owns that entire pipeline, right? Because it's saying not only do you own the platform in which basically all games are made on, now you own the #1 distribution channel. And I think regulators would actually have more of a problem with that than they will with Activision Blizzard. That being said...
The question is, though, are you telling me there's no world where this is a possibility that this can happen? Because I don't know about that.
No, I'll tell you exactly how it's going to happen. Because of this Russia situation, and I'm not going to get political. I'm only going to get strategic for a second.
Understood.
Like the Republicans always do, they play fast and loose with the economy. Everybody makes money. It's not sustainable. The Democrats ride in to take over. And then when the stuff hits the fan and that playing fast and loose has to be cleaned up, the Democrats come in, and then there are austerity measures and tax hikes to pay down debt. And then the Republicans complain that all the Democrats want to do is tax. And then they come in, even though the economy... The economy crashes because of the fast and loose stuff the Republicans were doing, and the Democrats get blamed for it because they're in office when it happens, and then the Republicans ride that through the midterm election. They take over the seats. They win back seats in the House and the Senate, and they use that to block everything to make it look like the Democrats aren't doing anything, and then they will win the next election, and By then, they will now choose who's the new FCC chair, and then it's get money season again. And under that climate,
everything that's old is new.
That's
right.
Yes.
True. So they wait for the next round of it to be in their best interest, which makes sense because Valve isn't up for auction anytime soon. It's not like anybody can just walk in and buy them. And it does seem, based on all the conversations, even in the past, that Gabe Newell specifically is more likely to when he retires, is more likely to hand the reins off to Microsoft than anybody else.
Well, I mean, so Slow-Mo points something out about, and I was just talking about this in the private chat, so Slow-Mo didn't see this, so I'll repeat myself. Mm-hmm. But he says that Gabe likely won't do it because of how the Steam fans would react. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. The Steam fans would react negatively, but they wouldn't go anywhere.
That's right.
They're not going to the Epic Game Store.
Yep.
Right? They're not going to leave their libraries behind. And I know you can save it and you own those games, but I get it. That's where they're going to stay. And just like people complained about GitHub, and just like people complained about NPM, you're not going anywhere.
By the way, you're wrong, because if they stop using Steam, they don't own those games anymore. GOG is where you own your game. You can there's no DRM. There's no DRM on GOG. Steam.
This is me talking as a console game. I didn't even know that. I was. So again, you PC guys are not walking away from your libraries. So you're going to complain and you're going to shut up, and then you're going to take. That's what's going to happen. And guess what? I think if, as far as Gabe is concerned, if he at least the way Microsoft is moving right now, right? If he wants to if he wants to ensure that the company gets left alone, they get to operate, the only thing Microsoft would do is integrate Game Pass, and he's already doing that now. If he's going to retire, seems like that's the best place to leave it.
Yeah.
Microsoft leaves it alone, but now they own that distribution channel. They integrate their services there, and then you're done.
People also must remember that they're dealing with the Microsoft of today and not the reputation of Microsoft of yesteryear.
Yeah, right? but Gabe is also going to have to think about who will be the Microsoft of tomorrow.
Right? Of course.
Today is fine, but remember, will they be that way tomorrow?
But remember, that also has a big part to do with Phil Spencer, right? Him being now gaming in Microsoft, right? The reason why, and it was even the Epic CEO had problems with Microsoft of old and how they acted, right? But the way that Phil Spencer has changed gaming at Microsoft kind of gives them confidence now to kind of move forward with them in case something like this happens, right? So I don't necessarily think that it'll be easy to get it implemented, but there's a world that can get implemented, and even Steam folks won't necessarily be all up in arms, because by and large, and of course, Activision Blizzard King will be a proving ground, but by and large, it's seeming that old Microsoft that earned that shady reputation is changing things, right? And every time they buy something new, that is a new chance to prove that, hey, we're not that shiesty. Look what they did with GitHub. Leave it alone. Let it be what it is. We're not.
And that's the thing. I think that if they can sell it this way, I think that's the model. I think they go, because this will have nothing to do with exclusivity. It won't change anything, but it'll put sort of and my only question is Microsoft still interested in those weird PC hardware, gaming related PC hardware? Do they continue doing things like what's the Steam VR headset called again?
Valve Index.
Are they still going to do the Valve Index? Are they still going to do more Steam Decks?
But remember, Valve Index, but most people didn't buy it, but the Valve Index is to the broader VR as the the Tesla Model X is to Model 3. That thing has trickled down and brought with it a lot of innovation that you will now see that you do see in Quest 2, that you will see in PS VR 2. A lot. It's more like anytime any of the big companies takes a big swing in that VR space, they then brighten it for everyone else moving forward. So That is why the Valve Index has been necessary, not necessarily as a consumer product, but as a next step in the progress to getting us to that broad consumer base. You know, as you are a Tesla owner, you know that without that Model X and without that and the other models before it, you do not get your 3, right? It doesn't trickle down, and that's what they're using it as today.
And Microsoft, like, you know, makes things like the HoloLens, and
Microsoft has helped.
Surface that are designed
Microsoft has helped, like, was instrumental in the Valve Index, and they are instrumental in the Samsung Odyssey and the HP Revive, all of the various like steps in the progress.
They've never wanted
very closely
to own any one of those.
But that's different. They have been instrumental in making sure those products see the fruition and get to their fullest potential, right? Yes, they may not be in the marketplace Microsoft currently is not in the market to sell you a consumer headset, but that's because their partners are there fulfilling that place. Doesn't mean they're not working in the background helping them achieve those goals, right? So it may end up becoming a secondary product that they don't pay attention to. But specifically, what you're just describing now, where HoloLens has been made securely in the business market. So in a universe where they buy.
Basically canceling a HoloLens 3. And my point is not about the Steam Deck not getting support.
In a universe where they buy a Valve Index, that index could become the consumer product at that point, because there's been many iterations since the index has been out. So the next index would be ready for more consumer, more mainline, if they so choose, and if the market is now, this would be post PSVR 2, right? So remember, every step furthers all of them along that path. It's not just what they're doing. It's what the entire market is doing, because VR is so niche right now, right? So you can't judge it based on what Valve has done. Valve helped get steps in that process. So if there is ever a Valve Index 2, I suspect it'll be post PSVR 2, post the next Quest, and there will be another step in that line. Hopefully more consumer based, maybe more cost effective, right? Doesn't mean they'll do it. It just means it justifies why they would want to, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. My only point is, the thing is, I don't know, but maybe they do want to be in the VR space to get ahead of this metaverse thing. They're talking all this metaverse nonsense, so maybe that's another synergy.
Right there, that point that you make right there is the reason why I don't think that Microsoft was just out of nowhere just be like, nope, we are, like, even though they haven't jumped into VR just yet, like fully jumped in, the metaverse talk around the fringes tells me that there will be some kind of VR AR play for consumers soon enough. Doesn't mean they have to they have to R&D it themselves. They could just buy a company that already has that R&D in it, right? They've already done the hard work, right?
Yeah, yeah, and again, like I say, it could be another synergy. So between them, like, actually, this would mean they're actually, like, okay, they spent $100 billion to show you they're serious about gaming and exclusives, and all those, and mobile, right?
Yep.
And if they can convince Gabe Newell to leave his company in their hands as to steward Valve, right, after he wants to retire, and maybe he can't, right? But if they can convince him of that, and they do this instantly shows you they're actually serious about PC.
Oh yeah, but
right?
they've already shown you they're active. They've already started talking about
their
PC.
launcher says otherwise. But
stop it.
Slow-mo, you want to back me up on that one?
Look, we're not arguing about, just because today their offerings are less than ideal doesn't mean that the conversation that they've had with the public is dashed. They've already committed to PC. They've come out with PC Game Pass. Clearly, and we know why their launcher is trash, because they have not aligned all of their software arms just yet. It's the Windows environment, like, it's splintered within the organization. That's why some of their apps are a little trashy, but that will get there. We know that this is a yacht, not a dinghy that's turned at Microsoft. So you got to give them time.
So all right, now aside from that, right? Like, again, it puts them in the VR space. It puts them in the mobile space. It gives them an into the PC world. They would have, like, this effectively gives them
And that message from Pixelbit G, that's for you, good sir.
The launcher isn't even bad anymore. That's cap.
Thank you. Continue.
Slobo says trash is offended. Anyway. So
Go ahead.
The point is I'm sure you can agree. This really demonstrates how serious they are and that they want to be number one in this world. They want to be number one in console. They want to be number one in mobile, and this will put them as number one in PC.
Yeah, which regulatory bodies will look with a big eyeball like that.
This is why I say it will be harder. But if they can make it, if they can make that work, I think Gabe Newell would, as opposed to anyone else. Like, I think at least today's Microsoft, he'd consider it because they would effectively be left alone after Game Pass is integrated.
Yep.
Right? Like, what else would Microsoft do to it unless they're running off Azure servers, right? AWS servers, not right now. They'd move them to Azure. Yes. But really, they would be hands off. But it's just a way of saying, they own that market. And if you're telling me you had interoperability between like cross-buy with Xbox console games, right, with a Steam launcher and accessing Game Pass games, that's a winning thing. And I don't think it changes the core of what Steam is. True. And they can just continue to be great.
Yeah, no,
now, again, I'm not a PC gamer, so all the PC guys, you included, Kay, tell me I'm wrong there.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I really don't. I think it's a long play, right? I think while they're busy doing what they're doing today, that's not a world we can see come to fruition anytime soon in the year or 2 years or 3 years from now, right now, because they seem to have other focuses and regulatory concerns, taken into consideration. That's not something they can just pull off easily, but that's definitely the case, right?
Well, okay. One thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this is just sort of devil's advocate to this idea. I've always thought that maybe because Gabe seems to be into it, does Microsoft want Steam integration with Game Pass? Because I almost feel like these Game Pass launches, day and date, you lose sales because of them. Right? I know people buy more, but you're not selling that copy. But where they are selling and they're consistently number one when they release a game is in Steam.
Yeah.
Do you want to lose that sales avenue?
Well, and that is a very interesting place that you brought up, because again, I will hearken back to the elevation, the evolution of Mr. Phil Spencer to not only being head of Xbox now, being CEO of Microsoft Gaming, right? That tells me that they can buy a Steam and keep it independent to anything like that. They may offer you a little bit of incentive to kind of keep playing in their waters, but they can have it be, much like we're talking about with Activision and King and all that, be a separate arm of gaming within Microsoft. They can do that without bringing everything under Xbox, which then has its own connotations, right? So there can be a world where, just like GitHub, they buy it, and those that know that they bought it will know that they bought it.
You're saying they buy it and they don't do the Game Pass integration?
They don't. Well, no, the Game Pass integration has already been talked about. Like, that will happen. They can do that, but it doesn't have to be full integration of Game Pass. Or even if it is full integration of Game Pass, it can be a situation where they know, and they know this, Game Pass isn't everywhere that Steam is. They know that. Like, there are some places where like, and even in a world right now in the United States where Game Pass is an option and people play Game Pass or Steam, there are still many people who forego the free Game Pass integration option and buy the Steam game itself.
Because the Xbox launcher is so...
No, that's not... Look, you can't speak to that, first of all. And secondly, it speaks more to the fact that PC gamers are very particular, and they will continue to be that way even when all the issues that you claim you had with the launcher are solved. They want it on Steam. My Steam library is my Steam library. They'll continue to keep it there. That is the reason why, even when you have the opportunity to get a free copy on PC, you end up buying the Steam version when you could have just downloaded the Game Pass version, right? I think there's a world where Microsoft leaves it the same. They will integrate, but not like, hey, this is now Xbox's Steam. No. Or Microsoft Steam.
No. You won't see Xbox named on there anywhere.
That's right. They find it more useful to just buy it, start some strategic little integrations here and there, but by and large, leave it the way it is. So you'll still see, hey, this game is being sold for what it's sold for. Because again, like to the point you're bringing up, even if this is allowed to pass, right, in that hypothetical world where they own it, regulatory bodies will look to make sure they don't do it like Amazon does, where you own the entire environment and you market and sell your product over everybody else's in the same market. They're going to have to keep it a marketplace of equals for the most part. Even though they themselves are selling their own stuff in the store as well, there will be a concerted effort to keep them kind of hands off and not pimping their stuff over everybody else's, which is where Amazon lives right now.
Here's the next question. Mm-hmm. If, again, we're in speculation town, as Boone would call it.
Yes, that's right.
And shout out to Xbox University. I think he's in the chat.
Yeah, I saw him in there. Yeah, welcome, sir.
But does your Series S and X, do those become the de facto Steam machine if such an acquisition were to happen?
Well, I can tell you,
or does Xbox not want Steam stinking up their hardware?
I can tell you that there's already, and I was part of the test program for the cloud integration, the xCloud for a year or two before it became public knowledge. I can tell you that the backwards streaming is also in the works, where the console can be the receiving device of a PC build. PC specific game. They're already talking about that and already integrating that, and they're already trying to work the logistics of that in the background. So in a world where they own Steam, they could definitely become, cloud-based Steam drivers, if you will. Kind of what do you call it? GeForce is doing now, where they'll just let you like log in with your Steam library, and with approval. Right? With approval of the publisher, you can then play all your Steam games in their integrated environment, all streamed to your screen. That's a possibility, right? To them, it's all about how you get to your content, and so you can buy more content or keep subscribed. So I don't see that being a problem. But okay, so let's move on a little bit more.
So, but likelihood, give me a percentage
that this will happen.
That one, Gabe will agree, and two, it'll get past regulators, and three, that Microsoft wants to do it.
So does Microsoft want to do it? Yes, they do. They've always wanted to do it. If you look at many of their public events, whenever they speak about Windows, they speak about gaming. Anytime you see them speak publicly and you see them out in front and they have one of their people talking like they do with their Apple-esque presentation, there's always a Steam logo somewhere. On the browser, in the taskbar, Windows has always kind of televised, hey, look, there's Steam on here. They're always doing that to appease the PC crowd, the PC gaming crowd. So does Microsoft want it? 100%.
Is it the PC gaming crowd, or is it the regulators because they don't want to look the browser ballot type of thing?
Honestly, I think it's because that's the thing that's been dogging them for years. Oh, you guys aren't serious about PC. So instead of forcing people to come to our store, we're gonna show people that we're okay with them sticking to the store they know. They've always liked Steam because they know that's where the people are. And just like they kowtow, if you will, to iOS and to Android, Steam is a platform, like the platform for PC. There is no way they don't want in on that. No way on that. As far as does Gabe Newell, from what I can tell, Gabe Newell's conversation and thoughts on Microsoft has changed over the years. He was the biggest antagonist to what Microsoft was.
Microsoft, yeah.
He was the
when
biggest.
They came out with the store in Windows 8. I remember.
The biggest. But over the years, you see he's softened. A lot of the policies are now approachable to them. Every time you hear him speak, and admittedly he doesn't speak too often, but when you do hear him speak about the console space or speak about Microsoft or speak about gaming, he has nothing but favorable things to say about Microsoft. Nothing but favorable things to say about their organization now. So all of that tells me that it's just if, and that's a big if Steam is on the purchase track to be purchased by someone, I don't see it being Amazon.
Gabe is not going to run it forever, right?
That's right. And if he
can get a promise,
unlike most
have it be left alone.
Unlike most big companies that are publicly traded, Steam is still private. It's literally all within Gabe Newell's control. All of it. It is Gabe's baby. So I'm
sure there's other investors, but he's probably the largest.
It's all within his purview still. I'm pretty confident that it's a matter of time as to when he chooses to give it to Microsoft. When will that happen? Oh, the ABK situation has thrown everything for a loop. So if it was going to happen anytime soon, I think that pushes things back considerably. Because
I think this happens before a Japanese publisher is purchased.
Oh, here we go. This is how we bring back Sega into the conversation.
Could be. I could be talking about Capcom. You never know. But I was talking about Sega. But no.
Yeah, of course you are. Yes. Yeah, of course you are.
No, but I think like strategically, if they can get this deal done, that's the next deal they do.
Well, and to the point of and let me bring up his.
And Shlomo says he bets regulators wouldn't even look at this, like wouldn't bat an eye.
I think regulators would bat an eye because that is really then you're actually okay. Being that this will take a while, right? And obviously the Epic Game Store has grown leaps and bounds. It's still nowhere near where where Steam is today. But you have GOG, which is stronger than it used to be. You have the Steam Store, which the Epic Store, which is also stronger than it used to be. There is an argument to be made, and of course, pretty soon we're expecting, and that'll be a transition to the other story. We're expecting that PlayStation will most likely will have a launcher, right? So as those get more
to that end, what if? And I'm just putting this out there. And shout out to Outbreak Podcast.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good morning or good afternoon. But
indeed, yes.
What if Sony's next major purchase is CDPR, and their launcher becomes GOG?
So okay. So 2 reasons why I think that would never happen, ever. Okay. First and foremost, CDPR's ethos is antithetical to what PlayStation does. They are very much.
So was Bungie. So let's be clear about that.
Sure. but how did Bungie solve that? By literally defanging what they consider the snake that is Sony. Yeah, we'll take your money, but you have nothing else from us. Why
can't they do the same with CDPR?
I don't think CDPR will get that deal because Cyberpunk left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And actually,
and they're making up for that in a lot of people. Cyberpunk's getting a lot of love.
That leads to my second reason why that'll never happen. When that happened, what did it do? It became a black eye for everyone, specifically for Sony, because it pointed out the fact that their digital return policy was non-existent. And how did that point it out? CDPR went, go talk to Sony. To the point where they had to remove it off the store for it to not become an even bigger issue than it was. I don't see that happening. If anyone buys them, I could see Microsoft before Sony does, because they are. It could be. We don't know, but they are. I don't know. When people say the culture, I don't see their culture fitting with Sony. But let's point out real quick what Pixel G said, that they are private, so the FCC could have little to do about it. True that being private means that they have little to do about it, but the dollar amounts might reach that level where there will be regulatory attention. The dollar amounts will be major.
Hey, look at Slow-Mo's comment.
CDPR's ethos is, how many lies can we tell?
Sounds like they got a lot in common with Sony.
Come on now. This look, don't be the what have you done for me lately kind of people, okay? CDPR built up a huge strong fan base by being proper in their way. And then of course Cyberpunk derailed a lot of that. But I can't, until I see more in that same vein, I can't think that they're a completely different company now just because of Cyberpunk. Before then, they're still the company that 7 or however many years after The Witcher 3 has been released, they're still talking about free upgrades. They're adding stuff left and right. They are not the same kind of, in it for the money
Right.
kind of company. Cyberpunk notwithstanding, right? Cyberpunk was the outlier, of course. But all right,
but
I want to get to a few other things before we close up today, and we're almost at 2 hours, so we'll keep talking. But please,
but I do think it's a possibility, and I think a strategic move. It would be a good strategic move for Sony with the way Jim Ryan is talking today, and them wanting to move beyond to basically have an already running. Like you get Bungie to help you with service-based games. CDPR makes games that sell 30+ mil and have story sort of TV.
But you do realize that 30+ mil, and I'll leave Slow-Mo's comment right in there just so those who happen to watch the video version can see that and enjoy that. Continue. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I saw
that 30 mil thing you're talking about is Cyberpunk alone, right?
No, that's The Witcher also.
The Witcher
sold
eventually,
30 million.
yes, The Witcher eventually got there, but The Witcher's situation was completely different from Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, I think, has really changed the perception of CDPR, and they have work to do to claw themselves back in the positive.
And which means they're undervalued right now.
True, that is true.
And again, the launcher, between they make the fact that they make tentpole games, between the fact that there's sort of IP to be mined in terms of narrative storytelling on the big screen and streaming.
So you really think that Cyberpunk, CDPR is a target for Sony?
If it's not, it should be.
Okay.
I don't know if it is.
There's been a lot of conversation.
It makes more sense for Sony than Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't need God.
No, they don't need any of that stuff at this point. There's a lot of conversation that happening.
And one game every generation is not really going to serve the Game Pass purposes. But I do think 30 million seller single player games that CDPR makes does work.
I will say there is a lot
Sony.
of conversation on the Sony side, the insiders on the Sony side that have been speaking to us on background, literally saying, "Hey, big purchase is about to happen." Hey, and a few names have been thrown around, which I'm kind of looking at with a similar side eye. So we shall see pretty soon in the next month or two if any of these things come to fruition. But speaking of Sony, let us transition into our third story, and I think this one's interesting. Because community, speaking of insiders, Mr. Jeffy Grubb came out and spelled out basically a lot of. Oh, and of course I picked a story that doesn't have the infographic. Let me try and find that.
Oh, we need that because this better not be true.
Well, okay, so let's see here, and we can go ahead and get started while I'll dig through the story a little bit. But basically, Jeff Grubb came out and basically showed us the different tiers of Sony's answer to PlayStation to Game Pass, and it left some interesting little nuggets out there. It's left some interesting conversation to be had out there. One of which is it seems that PlayStation Plus, as you've known it, is about to get doubled in price. Have you seen this infographic, Mr. Everborn Saga? What do you think about everything that has come out about it so far? And I'll look for that infographic.
So yes, I have seen the infographic, and basically what you get for $60 a year now is going to be $10 a month, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't say I remembered when Xbox tried to get rid of the sales that you could get Xbox Live Gold for $60 a year and said it's $10 a month now, that they got lambasted and torn apart by everybody in the community.
We call that.
And now I have a feeling that they will only get lambasted by half of the community.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. Now, or should I say 2/3 of the community at this point? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Now, this is saying, right, because this to me is, okay, so PlayStation Plus.
And let's be clear, this is all based off of Jeff Grubb's leak, but this infographic is just made by people in the community, right? This is not an official, hey, this is what it looks like, this is coming out. I get all that, right? But Jeff Grubb, very, very strong pedigree, very strong history of getting these things right. So
Yeah,
that's why.
Who the hell made that Spartacus font? It looks terrible.
Ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous,
like that better not. That's not real. I don't think that's real.
No. This whole
That
thing
should be
isn't real.
that should give this thing away that it's not like real.
This whole thing isn't real. It's just the words that are on the page that are real. They haven't been officialized yet.
Okay,
but presumably that's where we're going.
Okay,
Continue.
now let's go over this. So basically, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
right?
so PlayStation Plus is being replaced. If this is correct,
by
PlayStation
Essential,
Plus is
which
being
is
replaced
$10
with
a month.
Essentials. So which turns PlayStation Plus from a $60 a year thing to a $120 a year thing for exactly the same service.
Right.
Continue.
Now, Extra gives you downloads from PS Now.
Yep. Well, PS Now has had downloads for a while. So basically they add PS Now to it.
Yes. And then Premium, which is more than Game Pass, offers you, allows you to stream PS Now.
Yep. Which is
right?
Which is the same thing, which gives you
right?
full PS Now and then gives you game trials of first-party games.
What classic game libraries? Isn't that what PS Now is, or are they adding new content?
PS Now for a while has been more PS2. Well, not 2, more 4 and 3 a little bit.
It's not even like. See, I would understand $15.99 if like, yo, you also get Crunchyroll or Funimation, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what they're saying. So now they're saying first-party game trials.
Yes, which would then tell me like, okay, so Forspoken has come out, you get 5 hours or whatever.
No, but you wouldn't get Forspoken because that's not first party.
Not first party. That's not first party. You're absolutely right.
So they're saying for the privilege of being on PlayStation, I want to get this straight. For the privilege of being on PlayStation, we're going to charge you more than the competition and give you less. And I have already seen people comment to me, well, you don't know what's in the service. If it is not day and date, it has no business being more expensive than Game Pass. I'm sorry. That's full stop. There's no excuse. I don't care about a trial. I don't care about a classic library. I don't care about streaming. None of that. If you're saying that is more than Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and you're not doing day and date, a service that's going to gave you Horizon and Halo, and is going to give you Starfield and
you know
all
what?
these,
That's
and
all.
Elder Scrolls
That's
and
all
those things.
Objective. That's all subjective. Maybe these are games that people don't like, but let us speak about this classic library for a moment, okay? Let us speak about this classic library for a moment, because people seem to forget. We live in a world. Right, we live in a world,
and I do want to answer Gabe's question because I know he had asked that while Delilah was here. So, but we'll finish your point. Just don't forget.
We live in a world where Xbox has set a standard of what classic games are. Right, we live in this world. Your FPS boosted games are out there. Mr. Everborn Saga would not have ever found the love and the joy of Sonic Generations without FPS boost. That is not what these people are going to offer you. By and large, unless you have the infrastructure method that Microsoft uses currently, you have to go into each game, break open the code, and tweak it to get the benefits of the new hardware. If you don't do that, you're literally giving people the exact old school game as they remember it, but on a PS5. Those pixels get really major.
For the pleasure of playing it on a PS5. And what they're saying to you is like, you're stupid and you're going to pay for this.
I would love to see, I want to be proven wrong here, but this is a bad look in my
And they're saying you don't deserve our day and date content.
Well, I'm not saying they I wouldn't say they say you don't deserve.
$15.99 says you don't deserve it for that price.
Maybe they're saying they can't afford to give it to you like that.
I can't afford $15.99 if I'm not getting day and date.
I honestly think that this cannot be the whole story.
I think
there must be something missing.
No. I think this is fake, and there's no way. You know, like how when you see an iPhone leak, right, and it looks really terrible, but then when it actually comes out and they do their big, tech reveal porn, and they show the super close up angles, and then you see the device in your hand. You're like, oh, this looks pretty cool. That's what this is, right? This is a leak. I'm not saying there's no truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
there's
not
more
like,
to it than just this.
Yes, there's something missing here. There's a piece of the picture we're not seeing.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, if this is the offering, that is not going to be the price scale. It can't be.
Yeah, it can't be. It can't be. And to me, right, even the extra and the premium conversation that can be had, and Slow-Mo was saying that the Grub is correct. I don't deny in any way, shape, or form that Grub is correct. Grub has a very strong history of making these leaks, and he's always, if not 100% right, he's on the right path. Maybe things change between the time he hears them and the time.
Listen, if it's not announced yet, it's because it's not finalized. So these things could change. Maybe that was like I said. Either the offering is wrong or the pricing is wrong. There's no way both of them are correct.
Exactly. So where I am stuck here, where I'm still stuck, is the fact that Essentials basically replaces PlayStation Plus, and nobody can tell me, that no, they can have both. Why would you have both when both offer you identical services and one is twice the price?
And they're saying, again, because people are damage controlling this already, and it's most of the people who said support the devs and Game Pass is going to ruin the industry, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
They're saying, well, PlayStation Plus is actually $10 a month now if you do it monthly. But this is basically getting rid of...
Isn't that the same thing that was said
That's exactly the
Xbox
same
Live?
thing that Xbox
It wasn't
did,
that they increased the price. They just got rid of the discount, and the people just tarred and feathered them in the streets. Like, what's the difference here? This is hilarious.
But
that's amazing.
Here's the difference, though. Even when Xbox did that, they did that to highlight that it was better for you to get Game Pass for Xbox.
Yeah. That's all they were doing.
Spend these $10 and we're giving you a better option. This is saying spend $10 for the same thing.
Well, here you go. Here's Mr. Pixel Bit G bringing some realness into this conversation. Let's be real. This is the company that is charging you $70 per game and $10 more for Rumble. I'm just saying, don't put it past them. I hear you, but I'm hoping that that's not the case. You wanted to address Gabo's earlier question.
Yes, because he wanted us to ask while Delilah was here, but we didn't get to. Yeah. So, well, he has a new question now.
He does. He's
is it possible for the Sony leak this out to get a feeling for the community and potential Yeah, people do that a lot.
Yep, most definitely. Yep.
And Slow-Mo, I'm not saying Xbox wasn't wrong. I am saying let us watch the community reaction to these.
Yeah. Xbox was wrong just like PlayStation is wrong now. But Xbox has got their righteous smoke and then quickly reverted it. Whereas it looks to me that this is being allowed to sit and fester. Well,
because it's not announced.
It's not official. It's not official, right? But still,
they leaked this and then announced a different thing and look like heroes and make the value look better.
Exactly. But even still, that this is not official. Even from the PlayStation diehards, I'm not hearing a lot of pushback. I hear a lot more justification than anything else. Specifically on the Essentials point. Like, we'll see what the extra and the premium add and all of that. But if apples are apples and this exact service is being doubled in price, that is not justifiable. And I want to hear more people get up in arms about it. And so far, I have not heard that. So we shall see where this goes. So yeah, I agree with Gabo's assertions as well that this may have been just a strategic leak to see what the community feels about it, and then they come out and they present, now it's $8.99 or $7.99, and you go, hey, it wasn't that big a deal, right? Even though that's also somewhat of a price increase, but it'll be less than. So
I think it should go like 7, 10, and 13 if these are the tiers.
Sure. I can see that being the case, and you would be okay subscribing to that without
absolutely day and date? Not. For what? Why would I do that?
That's right. That's the question. Why would you do that? But there are many people in the community who would justify it and still do that. Just a thought.
Quote Arnold Schwarzenegger: "No chance."
Yeah.
All right. So Gabe's comment was in regards to the title of the episode. Why is it taking devs and or these gaming companies so long to get it right? If they
Thank
actually
you so
have,
much, Gabe O. That is
just
a wonderful
not care
transition.
to?
That is a wonderful transition to our main topic, which is, and I call this episode Colors, right? I called it that way because that's right. That's right.
Color.
I called it that way because, like, and this is me coming back around to gush more on Breath of the not Breath of the Wild.
See what you call it? Freudian slip there, buddy.
I keep doing that. More on Forbidden West. And while we have this conversation, I'll pop up the Twitter post that I posted that got a lot of traction on this. Basically, I contend that this is some of the best looking people of color, and I'll frame it as people of color because it's not just black folk in there. There's a lot of different kinds of folk in there, but specifically black folk as well, where this is the best looking rendition of the NPCs I have ever seen in any game. It's not just their faces, it's their mannerisms, it's their body, it's full detailed mocap that makes them look that puts them to the highest glory.
It's facial scans mixed with mocap and actually hiring, because just because you're black in a game doesn't mean your mocap actor is black.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's what they did, and I think we will, this is the path forward, and I think that, more than most games, because listen, we can talk about Elden Ring that got a 97. Mm-hmm. Go to the character creator there and tell me what you think about.
It's literally thin faces that have been made dark. Literally. Yes.
Right.
So this is the tweet that I posted out. A lot of conversation about it, and a lot of folks in the community here also commented there, and I appreciate you guys for doing so. But yeah, just a few examples. I mean, man, I have never seen a game represent blackness so well. So incredibly well. Wigs and ridiculous hairdos notwithstanding there, Pixel Bit G, because he was quick to be like, yo, you see that some of them perms? Yes, I do see some of them perms. And they're not all perfect. I hear you, bro. I do. But
hey, a brother could get a perm every now and again.
No, but the representation that the representative perms that you see on display, some of them are just garbage. Some of them are just ridiculous, Absolutely. But when they hit it right, boy, do they hit it right. I'm in awe of how well realized these games look. So well realized. I have never seen even in and I was the one that put out the one for Halo Infinite. They've always been very good at great black actors and all that. But even there, they're all in robot suits, so you don't really get to see. It's just the face that's well represented. In this instance, it's all of them. It's how they respond. It's how they talk. It's the whole deal. It's very, unusually good. And I know you haven't played it. I know you haven't really played it, but man, what they've done with this is another level. It really is. It really is.
No, and there's two things here. There's what Horizon is doing, and I think we're going to see more of this as the sort of facial scan technology proliferates more, and I'm sure they'll start to integrate it in these general purpose engines like Unreal and all those things.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more of this. But in terms of why we haven't seen this yet, a lot of it is because we haven't been in the room, right? A lot of it is people make what they know. A lot of it is, well, this is how everyone in the office around me looks. And so these are the actors that we're hiring. So this is how our artists are going to portray these characters. And we know we want, because black people got a lot of disposable income that they spend on a bunch of this stuff. So we want to get some representation in there because, it's always good to see yourself. And so here's some darker skin, and we can sell it to those guys too. But as more of us get into the industry, and this is why, look, I keep saying this.
And you know what? I will let you continue your point, but I will push back on one part of the puzzle with this, because I don't think that justification that you just gave does this game any service, because man, if that's all they did, then they would not have gone as far as they've gone, because they go real far to make these characters shine as bright as humanly possible.
Well, I'm not talking about what they've done here. I can't speak to this. I'm talking about how we got here and why it has taken so long.
Yeah.
And I really believe it's because we haven't been in the room. And I say that to say the gaming industry is growing exponentially right now.
Yep.
There are not enough jobs to fill, not enough applicants to fill all the open positions. And now is probably the best time than ever to get into gaming. We're seeing all of this massive investment. Microsoft, one company alone, $100 billion in 3 years into the gaming industry. We just saw the acquisition of Zynga. We're seeing these other, Sony's buying, everybody's buying things. All eyes are on the gaming community. It is the next vector. It is the linchpin of the metaverse and Web 3.0. Gaming is where it is. And
all y'all out there looking for buzzwords, take your drinks. He's
there you go. But the point is, like, we need to get into more of these rooms, and we need to start making more of our own games, and that is how this will change. You can't expect them to fix it for you, because guess what?
Well, but you know what?
Historically,
you know what? And Slow-Mo was talking about how he appreciated the character Varl. This is his girlfriend, and like how they represent her in here. So well realized, and it's not just the face of a black woman, the whole thing, like the voice.
But this is my point. Like, when you are doing these, as the facial scan technology has improved, and if you actually hire like the right people to do mocap, if you're not hiring somebody who does not have those mannerisms, you're not going to get that. So the technology has reached to a place, and the talent is being looked at in new sources, and now you're seeing this. And I think this is just the beginning. And they're out in front, absolutely. Yep. And this is the mold. Like, you take it from here and build from this.
And Pixelbit G points out correctly, Cyberpunk also does character creation and black people very well. They went overboard with that character creation. You can like modify bits of the human and everything. They go way past.
He also pointed out like metahuman for what do you call it?
True.
And the example of that, if you look at the Matrix demo, that is not a real person from a face scan.
Yep.
That's literally all an AI generated character.
So this character, I can tell you, has Ethiopian origins, and I can tell because as a person who deals a lot in that frame, when you do it well, I can tell you where they're from and speak to that. And this is the first time I've seen a game character and you go, yep, you can see the descendancy there. Speaks so well to how well realized they have made these characters. Now, let's not get me wrong, let this wrong, right? And folks that were talking to me on Twitter, I said I was going to gush about Horizon Forbidden West, and I will continue to do so. But this game has had also a lot of bugs and a lot of issues and this and that. And there are questionable decisions that were made here and there. But I just feel that, and don't get me wrong, Everborn, you are absolutely right that in order for this to be more the norm, more of us need to be in the room when these decisions are being made. More folks need to talk about it. And make sure it's known. Of course, we have Miles Morales, who also represented quite well in the past. Although I would say his characterization was a little bit not as well done as his character model necessarily, because like the way
he was a simp.
I wasn't trying to be derivative with it, but yeah, what you're saying like tracks
making us look bad out here. What's going on?
But the fade was ill, right? And the Tim boots at the beginning really put a tear in your eye. And if it didn't, then you don't have a heart. I'm sorry. Like I honestly think that they started on that path with Miles Morales, and they've been going full steam ahead, further and further down that path, and it's to be commended, right? And let me be absolutely honest. I wouldn't expect this from PlayStation. I don't expect this from Sony normally, because they don't tend to really like put that much energy in that kind of a thing more often. You know, I see it a lot more in my Xbox games than I do in my PlayStation games, and the fact that whether it be Gorilla who was all in on this specifically versus the team, the whole PlayStation team in general, you know, credit where it's due. This thing is beautifully done, well realized, absolutely awesome, and we want to see more of it, right? You disagree? You know, we want to see.
Yeah, more. You know, a good the Gears Hive Busters.
Very
the lead
good
guy in that.
Very
right?
good. I've been trying to convince King David to play him for Halloween because boy, that looked like King David.
He's not gonna shave that beard, the mutton chops. But no, these are great. And I'm like it's a new day, and amazing. To me, right, this is what Forspoken should look like.
Sure.
But it does not.
Well, but we should give Forspoken its due credit. It has not come out yet. Everything you've seen so far has been like footage of a non-released game, right? Okay. It could come out and they could come together, right? I don't want to judge it, or it could come out and be trash. Okay. And when it comes out and it's trash, you know we'll be on here saying, "Come on now, you've seen Forbidden West, you know, live up to the standard." But for now, I'll say Forbidden West, Forspoken has not officially released yet. So what we've seen, notwithstanding, I want to give them the time necessary to, you know, knock it out the park as they should, right? But by and large, you know, I honestly, and while we're having this conversation, I've been posting up a bunch of other folks because I'm not the only one that's noticed. These images are all from all various other folks who've seen this and posted on Twitter. You know, this right here looks like a literal, like an image, like a picture, rather than a digital representation of a human. You know, they have done so much work, and it's not even just the quality of the animation or quality of the paint, the artistry here, but to represent how that human looks in real life. It is a photograph. You could talk to this human in real life, you know, and they look exactly like that. It is just astonishing how far they've gone to get this done. So, you know, while we're talking about all the stuff, the other stuff about this game, and yes, there is a lot of that. If you check my Twitter, you'll see that every day I discover a new bug, and they're not game-breaking bugs. They're not, but they're goofy bugs. Some of them. I had the wall humping bug. I don't know if you saw that there, Everborn, where literally Aloy just like just had a spaz where she's climbing a wall and she had a spaz where she just started humping the wall. I'm just like profusely.
How is the texture popping?
The texture popping is as bad as has been reported. Like and like it is as bad as, hey, a small couple blades of grass pop into view, or a wooden log that is clearly should be there pops into view, or actually a whole skyscraper that you walk up to it you can see the rooms or pieces of the room, and then the building just pops into view. Stuff like that is still there, right? Stuff like that is definitely part of the conversation, and we can't discount that. We can't say, oh yeah, it's trash or whatever, or it's great. But at the end of the day, you know, I have to give them some real props for this work. I would not have expected it from them, you know.
No. All credit where credit is due. I have not, you know, even in the Black Panther expansion for
yes, exactly.
Like, I have not seen this level of authenticity.
Well realized. Yep.
In portraying us, and it's, you know, more of this, less of everything else.
Felix is out here choosing violence. Is it worth $70? That's a whole different conversation there, brother man.
And now this is the question, right? You know, you want to encourage positive, you know, positive movement, right? Mm-hmm. But how much credit do you give somebody for something they should have already been doing, when you consider the disrespect of them not doing it in the first place, but still happy to take your money?
Hey man, look, I will still contend.
It's like, if you didn't raise your kids until they were 17 years old, and you's like, I want to come back when they 17, get them out of high school.
Look,
do you really deserve credit because you try to be a parent now?
I'll say this to you, just like I've said it to the other folks that we had this conversation, and we've had a pretty good conversation about it online, and I ask everyone to jump in and continue that conversation on the Twitter. But I am judging all of this. Oh yeah, and of course I see that this is some other folks. Detroit Become Human. They also sowed some seeds there as well. People. Barrett still exists, bro.
Barrett. Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. Slow-mo says worth the price is subjective. Is it subjective when you can get it for 60, like Kay Asante did?
I'm saying. And look. Let's not go fully down that path. But I will just say this: clearly, they offered it for that price because under duress, we caught them in a lie way back when. Yeah, we're gonna make it available, and then they went, well, because we delayed it, now it's no longer part of the launch window, so we're not gonna make it available. And people went, hell no! Y'all said it was part of the beginning, so you're making it available. They said, sure, we will. And then they did everything marketing-wise to try and obscure that, to the point where in the UK, a bunch of people paid the $70. Not very clear on the fact that it costs $60, and $70 is not dollars; it's actually pounds, which is way more than the $10 equivalent on the USD. But honestly, my issue with that is more about the fact that it's kind of shady practices to offer the same SKU at two different price tags, and then
I am still because I don't trust them. I'm gonna wait till the game's on sale and then buy the PS5 version.
Okay.
Not because I think it's worth it, not because anything. I just feel like somewhere down the line, Sony is gonna make you pay a price for this. Just like they said for the fact that they was giving you this upgrade in the first place, they were like, yeah, but we're never doing this again after they announced it. So that's the thing. And Gabe O, to your point, when Chris Rock said that, do you want a cookie? It's like somebody coming up to you to say, oh, I raised my kids. I got a job. I ain't never been to jail. Exactly. You ain't supposed to go to jail.
That's right. You want to impress me.
Right. So you should have been doing these character models all along.
True. Very true.
If you could have convincible looking Asian and white characters, you should have had convincible looking black characters.
Now, my ulterior motives for having this be a subject of conversation is all that you guys are discussing, 100% true. But this should now be the standard that we look at other developers, and I'm not talking about indies. I'm talking about you, Square Enix. Barrett still bothers me. Look at his hair. Look at his ridiculous act, like the way he talks, like absolutely offensive just to listen to this man open his mouth and speak. This is the standard by which we need to judge others. So if you come, if another game,
Capcom and Barlog,
exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like if we now see in 2022 and moving forward, we see somebody that does not meet this standard, please call it out, because it's about time that these things start getting changed. And it looks like they can do it, right? The weird perms notwithstanding, I get you. And of course, as you've also correctly pointed out, with Unreal Engine 5 and the MetaHuman initiative, there's a lot of room there to grow, right? Look at this man, like absolutely perfect rendition of how it should be. So we as a community, and again, to make sure folks don't misconstrue, this is not to say that, this is not to say that because they're doing this, this is better than what they've been doing before, or to take anything away from the white protagonists or whatever. All can be good. I'm just talking about bringing the black characters to equal footing, which is what is done here, right? They brought the black characters to equal footing to Aloy, who has always been very well realized, very well rendered, both from a character perspective and from an asset and graphics perspective. They have literally taken it there in all aspects. So we should expect that moving forward from everybody else. Are there any disagreements? And I'll ask you, Everborn, what do you think? Do you think that we should demand this now rather than expecting. Oh well,
I was demanding this before, and I'm not like, it's great that they're doing this, and I love the tech, but now you can't say the tech isn't available, and you can't say the actors aren't available, so you don't get a cookie. But
Felix, I disagree with you. Coltrane was not bad. Coltrane was not bad.
Coltrane was bad. I don't know what you're talking about. Coltrane was terrible.
How was it? Explain.
Absolutely terrible. Like,
explain.
He talks like Barrett almost, except he's not trying to save the environment.
Well, the difference between Coltrane and Barrett is Coltrane was actually the person. I forget the name of the original actor who plays him. I actually got to meet him at Comic-Con, so maybe that's why I'm biased towards it. I thought he played a stereotypical, like what do you call it? There for the jokes.
Right there. You just said character. Stereotypical.
Yeah,
that's
but
the point. That's the problem that we're
not necessarily black stereotype, but it was more in the stereotype of, he's there for the jokes, always there for the ridiculousness. The character who plays him, the actor himself, is that dude. He just is. If you ever meet that dude and you shake his hand, you talk to him, he is that guy. He's the Coltrane. He's the same dude. Same dude. They just literally called him Cole and put him in the game. Like, he wasn't putting it on. Whereas I don't think the dude who plays Barrett walks around and talks like this all the time. Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like Barrett is definitely in chucking and jiving territory. Whereas Cole was just allowed to be Cole because the character, the actor they found was that character, and they brought him in.
They looked for, but sure. Just saying.
No. See, now we're going off the different place here. So you're telling me, Slow-Mo, you think Cole and Barrett are basically the same character? I don't know about that. I don't think so.
Listen,
at least, if nothing else, Cole looks better than Barrett does.
Okay,
Cole looks like a black man. Barrett does not.
I would not be able to tell the difference in a lineup. I would have to look at the arm. So whoever's missing the arm is who I choose. That's the only way I know.
So I will concede to Pragmatic Eagle's point. He was rendered well, but his representation was horrible. I'll give you that. He was rendered well. At least he looked the part. Whereas what's his name? Barrett, even his rendering is terrible. Have you seen the hair on his head? Like, what is that? Anyway, let us move forward, shall we? They're cousins, he says. Let us move forward. All right, so we're around in the bottom of this episode, right? We're gonna call it where we are right now. This has been a great episode. I want to thank Delilah HD for joining us. She wasn't able to join us for the whole episode because obviously she has her own show as well. I really appreciate it. Mr. Everborn Saga, what do you have going on this week?
Oh God. Okay, so the Redlands book is complete. This is the sample.
So when am I gonna get my hands on mine?
Everyone is gonna get their digital rewards tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
And then I am ordering the prints, which because this is a fun fact. So we hit our first stretch goal, which gives everyone hardcover editions of Prince of Arcadia Book 2. But a few of the orders, like card got declined. So we actually didn't hit the stretch goal, but I still have to get everyone their hardcovers, so don't worry about that.
That sucks.
So the hardcovers take about 3 to 4 weeks to come, and these take about a week to get here because the hardcover is harder to print. Everyone will be able to read all their books starting tomorrow, and as soon as the hardcover prints get to me, which will be sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I will send out everything at once, so everyone will get all their books at once, unless your reward only included this, then you will get this probably by the end of next week or the beginning of the following week, because this is going to come like right away.
Please don't make it like the Steam Deck orders.
No, it won't be like that. Q2. My life this week is about fulfilling all of the orders from the Kickstarter. So I'm probably not going to be doing much more than that. And I have not bought my Batman tickets. I need to
Oh yeah,
take care of that. And I want
that
us to
return on the reel.
It will for that review. I still want to get some other equipment and like get my life together.
Okay.
So on the reel is coming back. I do promise, but for on a regular cadence. But we are going to do a special review episode for the Batman.
Okay.
So that's pretty much all I'm doing this week, other than being on Boom Show. And I will say, if you have not, if you didn't contribute to the Kickstarter, this week the link will go live on everbornsaga.com, and you can get your hands on the Redlands.
Awesome. That's
all
great.
black cast. Just putting that out.
And they all look like black people, not white people that have been painted to be dark.
They better.
Indeed. So yes, you can check all that stuff out. I'll make sure that we'll pull some information from Mr. Everborn Saga, put that in the show notes as well. There have been folks that have been watching and listening online, listening through the various RSS feeds. We thank you, your Apple Podcast, your Google Podcast. I will say once again, if you happen to leave us a review there, I will read them out on the show, because we definitely want more folks to jump in. Hey, hello, Pragmatic Eagle. That's where I take offense with you. There will be no Lieutenant Johnson slander on this show, sir. He was not stereotypical. I loved that man. Enough of that. Let's continue.
He was accurate for a drill instructor, so I don't. Yeah. Exactly. If you want to say he was a stereotypical drill instructor,
that I can go there with you, but to be like, he was not that negative connotation. I didn't agree with that one. But yeah, let us continue on. So
he's no Coltrane.
Oh Lord, here we go. All right, you got me. I'll be quiet. But okay. So as for me,
I appreciate that comment, Slow-Mo, but the backhanded part of it, I see what you did there. I see. I peep game, Slow-Mo.
So for those who aren't privy to all the wonderful visuals, please also check out the video version, because you will see a lot of the comments that are left. Some we just kind of post on the screen and let people who happen to watch it get that benefit. So if you only happen to catch this on the audio, please go ahead and try and check this out on YouTube as well when it posts. As for me, I will try and finish. I will finish Forbidden West this week. I'm 50 hours in, and I still refuse to go mainline story. I want to finish all the side quests and stuff first, but hopefully that won't take another 50 hours.
Anything but play Elden Ring.
No. Actually, it's funny. It's funny. I bought the game. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to give it the old college effort. I was speaking with Mr. Boomstick. I was making a joke with him saying we should do a show together called The Blind Leading the Blind, and just literally just like he and I co-op in that game, trying to figure this stuff out, trying to figure out how to summon our steed, stuff like that, But I will give it a genuine try, because hive mind or not, all the reviews being so positive warrants some attention. So I will definitely do that. But because the game so far is not running great, it doesn't matter really where you play. I kind of want to give that time to Breath of the Wild. I keep doing that. To Forbidden West. So that by the time I'm ready to play Elden Ring, they have a few patches in and it's more stable.
Okay, so I think one word of advice for Elden Ring. I've basically started over because I couldn't deal with the tank controls. Okay. So I started the game over from scratch. Not that I did anything but die, right? But I remapped the buttons, so X is the main attack and Y is the heavy attack.
Yeah.
And the R trigger is block. And I use items with the right triggers now. And the other thing is I chose the hero class, who still has health and strength, but he's a lot more agile, so the controls don't feel as tanky with the hero class.
Okay. Oh, and before we end the show, let me post a real quick. I asked what people were playing, and this may lead to our final quick conversation before we end the show. I had a feeling that Forbidden West might run into that Breath of the Wild problem it ran to the last time, and it looks, at least in my timeline, it looks that way that it's happening.
Well, not necessarily, and I'll tell you why. See, I feel like a more apt comparison is Breath of the Wild versus Zero Dawn because they were both exclusives. You're going to have more people playing Elden Ring because you can play it on PC and Xbox as well as the PlayStation.
Okay.
So, and that's actually pretty close. So if you, even if you consider, like, it's like kind of neck and neck when you think about it.
Sure.
A
lot more people aren't playing either
Xbox.
anyway. A lot more aren't playing either. You know, a lot more are looking for other things. You know, I had folks say, Sea of Thieves and Skyrim and a bunch
let's
of
be clear. I am just like killing time until Tunic comes out because I'm gonna drop Elden Ring or Horizon like a bad habit the day Tunic is out, with no remorse.
Even after playing all 6 or whatever demos that have come out over and over and over again, hopefully they have more to show you.
They get better every time.
True, I will give you that. They get better every time.
And again, he's a man after my own heart. Like he's been developing that game about as long as I've been developing Ariel's Adventure.
Yes.
So, but he got his out. I need to get mine
out. So all right, so you'll see us again on PTG Primetime Gaming on Monday nights. You'll see us on the various shows that if we are lucky enough to be invited this week you're invited on a show, if I'm not mistaken. Are you, Mr. Everborn?
Yes, actually, everybody, if you want to keep hearing me talk smack, in 15 minutes head over to Xbox University's channel because he is launching a new podcast called the X Class. And so we're going to be talking about news of the week and some topics that we missed here, like COD skipping a year. How did we not talk about that?
Well, we're not COD people this week.
Well, this is true.
Yes.
This is true.
And you're also going to be on the shop, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, this evening. Yep.
Yeah. So this man is podcasting
3 podcasts
all day.
today.
He's podcasting all day. After this, I'm chilling.
And very soon I'm going to be on Gaming Beyond the Box.
Oh, awesome.
Keep you posted on the date for that.
Indeed.
And shout out to Wilmy Hood.
Shout out to Wilmy Hood, indeed. So, okay, we will close up this shop, but it's been great podcasting with you, man, Mr. Everborn Saga. Every week, we're back at it again. We promise we won't be tardy. I feel like I broke my tardiness record for high school, missing a week. We'll try not to do that again, unless these gremlins get at me again. Forgive me. Thank you, everybody who happens to watch it. Thank you again to Delilah HD for joining us. It was a great conversation we had. I will again put all of her information in the show notes so you guys can check those out. And of course, we will continue the conversation online. Catch me, TKO Asante, on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation. If you see me playing Elden Ring, jump in. I might need the help.
Yeah, you just got to pull out a golden finger. What the hell is that? Anyway, forget it.
Let's keep it moving. And of course, you can catch Mr. Everborn Saga also on Twitter at Everborn Saga. But for Mr. Everborn Saga and myself, we appreciate all you.
Go to everbornsaga.com too. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to tell people. I have to sell my brand more and tell people I'm here to sell comic books. People, go to Everborn Saga if you have not been there. You'll see everything we got going on.
Exactly. And of course, as the books come out and people start seeing it, you'll see more of the new version of what Everborn Saga is doing. So I'm looking forward to get my hands on the book, and we might even talk a bit more about it on the show. But it has been wonderful chatting with you again, Mr. Everborn Saga. It's always great doing this on a Saturday. Thank you to Slow Mo, Big Bad Mo, Felix, Pragmatic Eagle, a bunch of the folks that joined, Mr.
Pixel G.
Yes. Thank you guys. Without you guys, the show is never the same. It's always great getting that feedback from you guys and feeding off of it and making the show better. So thank you guys so much. If you happen to listen to this on the various platforms, please go ahead and give us a review. Let us know you like it. Give us some constructive criticism so we make the show better. And please subscribe to the channel. We're growing it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year.
Because we want that super chat money. God damn it.
No, we want to grow the channel. We want to see that it's getting better. We want to see that the community is appreciating it. If there's anything that we can do to make your enjoyment of the show better, DMs are always open. We also have ideas for lots of interesting guests that we're going to be bringing on the show. So if you think somebody who would lend their voice as well to our conversations, please go ahead and let me know about it. You can find me on Twitter. As I said, my DMs are open. But Until next week, I say thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for continuing to support us, and we will see you all next week. Peace.